QC Kinetics.
Start now with a free consultation at QC Kinetics. 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. Call today. 333-9517.
BC Powder knows life pushes us to the max. Work to the max. Family to the max. It can all mean pain to the max. So BC introduces new BC Max Strength. New BC Max relieves tough headaches and body pain at the speed of powder. Nothing stronger on pain without a prescription. Pain to the max? New BC Max. In a great tasting lemonade flavor.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The greatest quarterback of all time has officially called it an NFL career after 22 seasons and 7 Super Bowl championships. Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady on Instagram announced his retirement, said he's always believed the sport of football is an all-in proposition. As difficult as it is for him to write, he's not going to make that competitive commitment anymore. Now it's time to focus his time and energy on other things that acquire his attention. So much to laud Brady about, including his ability to win regardless of his teammates, notes former Patriots cornerback Ty Law.
He won championships without Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, and some of the other great receivers that we know and that we think about when it comes to that position, who usually helps make quarterbacks great. Tom, you could put anybody out there on the field with him, and he's going to find a way to win.
Former Oklahoma quarterback Caleb Williams transferring to USC. He'll be reunited with first-year Trojans coach Lincoln Riley, his former Sooners coach. NBA Nets guard James Harden upgraded to probable tonight against the Suns.
Finding your next great hire can leave you finding yourself pressed for time. That's why Indeed has a built-in interview platform that makes it easy for you to schedule and conduct video interviews right on their site. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Now your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Work. That's work. Enter it on our station website now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, 2 men, 1 journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit.
Let's go!
Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, The Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingalls Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings.
It is ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Green's alongside in the Ingalls studio. And the first hour always brought to you by Ingalls. Low prices, love the savings. It is, go ahead, take your victory lap. It's finally over.
Woo-hoo!
It's officially official.
Batman cannot hurt me anymore.
The Jets fan's happy. This Tampa Bay fan is, well, we knew it was coming. But Tom Brady has officially announced that he is retiring at the end of 22 wonderful NFL seasons.
Horrid, awful, nightmarish. I have finally awoken from the nightmare.
A career like no one will ever have again in the NFL. 7 Super Bowl wins. And all those 5 Super Bowl MVPs.
Channel 1, no one can hear you right now.
Great. And welcome into the program here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Apparently, you could not hear us because we were, there's buttons. There's buttons.
I don't do buttons.
You don't do the buttons. I do the buttons, and that was a failure on my part. So anyway, if you were just joining us on ESPN Asheville, welcome into the program. Tom Brady's done. Tom Brady's officially retiring after 22 seasons in the NFL, and Jeremy's happy. I'm very sad. But, I mean, it is what it is. We all knew this was going to come.
Over an hour in the live stream on Sunday.
Yeah.
I told you the only reason he came out and said, I haven't made my decision yet, because he didn't want to overshadow the playoff games.
Right.
The story got too drastic. He had to come out and say this. He didn't have a choice. Mm-hmm. So it didn't go exactly how I wanted it to.
It is what it is.
No more Tom.
Nope. Tommy's moving on. He says football takes a day in and day out commitment, and that is a commitment that he is no longer willing to give. Which you can't blame the guy. He's got 3 kids. He wants to spend time with the kids.
He's got 7 rings. I think you've done enough.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing left to prove. Greatest of all time. Not even a discussion. I think we can move on. So today on the program, we're going to talk about the state of the NFL as it sits right now. What is the state of each and every team in the NFL when it comes to what they're going to be able to do moving forward? We have gone down several different categories here. Break it down.
So basically this rabbit hole came 2 places. One of our great Raider fans, G-Baby, that hangs out with us all the time, asked me when the Harbaugh thing started and they wound up with Josh McDaniels, how alluring of a job was the Raiders. And my argument was, you're one of the only ones that I think McDaniels would have taken. So that started it. It evolved yesterday when I started talking about Kansas City and how easy is it going to be to continue to win Super Bowls.
Right.
So I developed a little formula. Every team in the NFL, we gave them a grade, 1 to 32, which means you got a score, which ultimately led to a power ranking. Every team has a score 1 to 32. Low is better. So you want to be 1, not 32. Based on ownership, the front office, your quarterback's contract, your quarterback's talent, and the overall talent of your roster. Mm-hmm. And I fully believe that as we went down the rabbit hole, this is the best indication of the next 3 years in the NFL that you will ever see.
And some of you are going to be very happy about it. A lot of you are going to be very unhappy about it because, I mean, in our local market, the score wasn't too great.
Yeah, Carolina, your number is markedly higher than you want it to be.
Right.
But now in the comments, David Evans Olson, who is a Steelers fan, said, I'm afraid of where my team's going to be. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. There's a point to this. Mm-hmm. And this is the whole 2 hours. Every team will be mentioned, and we're going to go Clint Eastwood style. I'm going to say something good, something bad, and then there's the pivot point of every team.
Right.
If you're bad, it's going to be ugly. If you're good, it probably won't be.
Right. So let's get into the list here. Time is precious. 32, the worst team in the NFL. Looking forward, who do you think it is?
It's the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
And now here's the thing. Yeah. The one thing that this cannot take into account, the front office grade for them is a 23. I can't put you any higher than that. Brad Holmes has had one good draft. I can't, in good conscience, put you ahead of, A, guys that I don't know what they're going to be, B, teams that I haven't seen boo-boo kitty draft picks for 30 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're 32. You have no quarterback, and you have a really ugly quarterback contract situation.
Right.
That's what pushes them below the teams that are in the rest of the 30s and the low 20s. That being said, the Lions absolutely killed this draft, much like the Rams tend to do. Penny Sewell's a long-time starter. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a long-time starter. But among teams in the NFL, they have the furthest to go because they don't have any quarterback.
Right.
You still have to figure out what to do at the premium position in this league. So to me, anybody that has Detroit at any number not 32, it's disingenuous.
Yep. Our scores are up there on the screen.
If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you will see every score that every team got in every category.
Yes.
The ultimate score for the Lions was a 131, of which I know what the score was for the team that finished first, and it's like a quarter of that.
A mess. It's a whole mess more.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a quarter.
Coming in at number 31. Number 31, Math's Fun.
The bottom three in this, to me, were abundantly obvious.
Oh, of course. It's the Houston Texans. I thought they would end up finishing last, but somehow, some way, we worked out all the numbers, and they were 1 point off of the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, here's the difference. They have a cheap quarterback. Their front office is a disaster. The Nick Caserio thing has been an unmitigated disaster. But you do have a young quarterback, and we have seen teams with average to good quarterbacks, which is exactly what I think Davis Mills is. They find ways while they have that cheap quarterback to put talent around them. The Texans are in that position.
Mm-hmm.
They're not leveraged financially. We didn't take the salary cap into account to this, and I'll tell you why. It's the next team on this list, and my team. The Jets and the Jaguars are proof positive of why I do not care how much salary cap space you have. It means absolutely nothing to me.
Right. What matters most is how well built is your front office and whether or not they can spend the money wisely. And that's just something that Houston doesn't have going for it. I have no faith in Nick Caserio.
No, I have no faith in anything Houston. None. And you take those two teams and the team that comes in at 30, and those are the three most listless franchises in the NFL.
The third one among those at number 30, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, Jacksonville, you have one really good thing working for you. His name is Trevor Lawrence. Your coaching selection should be pandered to that, which is why I've been screaming Byron Leftwich's name from the rooftops for a solid week now.
Mm-hmm. But the thing that hurts you the most is the fact that you have a clown of an owner and you have one of the worst general managers in the league.
Yeah, the Trent Baalke and Chad Conn are what put them this low.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to be really bad when I think you are set with a quarterback on a rookie deal and you're still this low. I mean, they're 29 or lower in front office, owner, and overall talent score.
Mm-hmm.
That should really tell you everything you need to know. You have something that ready marks you to be markedly higher than this, and you still can't do it.
Nope. Not as long as Trent Baalke's in town, and that's why nobody wants to take your job.
But these three are proof positive of exactly what it is that this whole scale is meant to do. I'll use the example that was thrown out in the comments. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
You have one of the best owners in sports. You have one of the best front offices in sports. Secret time, you're not going to be as low as you think you will be.
Right.
You get killed at quarterback, but that's built into the scale because I have the confidence in your front office to find one where I do not have the confidence in the Jaguars to keep one or develop them.
Agreed. At number 29, we got the New York Giants.
This really didn't surprise me all that much, except they do have a favorable deal with Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Daniel Jones, whether you like him or not, you still have time on him. You're not committed to him. You're not locked into him. So Daboll can go trial year.
He can.
Then if that doesn't work out, now you're in a slightly more precarious situation.
Yeah. But I mean, if you find a quarterback, obviously that's going to help your score because you're very high up there on the quarterback contract part of this because it's a nice little deal.
You haven't had to kick in the option yet.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to kick in the option. Now you're taking your life in your hands if you don't do that. But at the end of the day, I got to ask this on a show that I did a few weeks ago. If Daniel Jones was in this draft, knowing what you know of him now, how many quarterbacks would you take over him? The answer was Sam Howell. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I like him better than Matt Corral. I like him better than Malik Willis. I like him better than all the other quarterbacks in this draft.
Even Kenny Pickett.
What am I going to say?
Pickett a lot. Oh, the tiny hands.
He's Chad Pennington. That's exactly what I think. He's a slightly faster version of Chad Pennington.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, if he goes to Pittsburgh, you're probably going to be in great shape. If he winds up getting overdrafted and goes to the Saints, T's and P's.
Yep. At number 28, this we don't want to do this, but we have to. I mean, the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. The Carolina Panthers come in at number 28 with a total score of 117. Hey, at least I went eye test and I put you above the Giants.
Because you did, and that is the tiebreaker for all ties.
Yeah,
we just looked at each other and went, which one's better?
Yeah, and it's the Carolina Panthers. They are loaded with talent, in my opinion. The problem is I just don't know what you have yet. I mean, you got an ownership. The ownership has taken its beatings over the last 2 years with the Matt Rule thing.
Hey, you might get lucky. Jim Harbaugh is interviewing for an NFL job on signing day, so I do kind of like the chances that he's going to take one.
And Matt Rule, of course. That whole situation still stands before them.
The problem with Carolina is that they're the only team in the NFL, to the best of my recollection, that has 20s at everything.
Mm-hmm.
Ownership's average. Pretty much everything you've got is average. Now, what can sway that? I can't believe I'm about to say this out loud. if Ben McAdoo can figure out how to use Sam Darnold. Because I was asked that conversely, too. If Sam Darnold was in this draft, where would he go? Number one, and it wouldn't even be a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't even think about it. Any team in the NFL.
Agreed.
He is still that talented, and he's still very young. So there is something to be said for that. The problem is that you got him on the backside of a rookie deal, so you don't get that bump.
No, you're
don't. You're going to now have to pay him this year. You're locked into that. There's nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
And Panther fans, I hate to tell you this, he is your starter.
Oh, yeah.
You can opine Cam Newton. You can opine rookie quarterback. You can opine whatever you want to. Sam Darnold will be the starter of this team.
Yeah, somebody's got to be able to figure out how to unlock the talent in Sam Darnold. Right now, though, you have one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. You also have one of the worst contracts in the league because you're paying him $18.8 million this year.
And you think that one's markedly worse than I do? It's just, it's 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if it goes sideways, you're out of it.
Of course.
I firmly believe the Ryan Tannehill deal is worse than that, and you didn't, and I can't wrap my head around that.
Because, at least I have a good quarterback. I get I'm paying him a whole lot more money, but at least I have a good quarterback out of that. At number 27, this is where the Atlanta Falcons drop in with a score of 115 total. If you're just joining us, we're going all of these scores: owner score, front office, quarterback talent, quarterback contract, and overall talent on your team makes your composite score to tell us where your future lies.
And the problem for Atlanta is that you have a middle-of-the-road quarterback, you have one of the best owners in this league, and you're still dreadfully bad. They just have a huge talent deficiency, and you're paying an old quarterback. Got one more year of that. Then you can get out from underneath it. But Matt Ryan will be the starter in Atlanta again.
Mm-hmm. Because I don't think anybody's going to be signing up for $91 million to Matt Ryan.
I don't know that I've ever seen a team that was on a treadmill more than the Falcons after they lost that Super Bowl. They've been in the same exact position for 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Different coaches, different schemes. It doesn't matter. You have a quarterback that will only take you so far. Now he's really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the talent around you. The Calvin Ridley thing is a mess. But you'll end up getting draft capital for him, and you hit on a couple draft picks, and a year or two from now, this could be a markedly different story.
Let's hope so. Hope so for those dirty birds.
But Atlanta is a really good proof positive of why this formula works, in my opinion. Atlanta is not in that New York Giants, Detroit Lions tier. And there's only one reason for that. There have been multiple GMs, there's been multiple head coaches. What has never changed?
The quarterback.
Arthur Blank.
Oh, yeah.
Arthur Blank has never changed. If it wasn't for him, that team could be a train wreck.
That's a very good point. The Chicago Bears come in at number 26. They have a total score of 113 when you look at everything.
Of which we will put the entire scoreboard out on social media after this show.
Mm-hmm.
If you're over 100, you're not good. At all.
No, we had 10. We had 10 teams have over 100. And the Chicago Bears in the place that they sit right now with Justin Fields, Ryan Poles coming in as their general manager, it's hard to get an accurate score on how you feel that front office is gonna operate.
And I like Ryan Poles. He's a former player,
mm-hmm.
grinder to the highest level, and that was kind of factored in. The problem with Chicago is that you traded up to get a quarterback when you weren't ready to trade up and get a quarterback because the things around him are not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to waste all of those rookie scale years on a team that's 6-11? Best case scenario, and I know I kind of slammed Matt Eberflus, but it was more because of what he does, not who he is. Best case scenario, what's he going to do? Go 6-11?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
If Luke Getsy, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yep.
If he comes in and he is the best offensive coordinator you've ever seen, they go 7-10 and Justin Fields looks like a Pro Bowler. You're the prize at the end of that rainbow. Well, now you get to hire a new offensive coordinator because he'll be a head coach somewhere.
Right.
New scheme, new things. It's just a perpetual cycle. And that seems to be what the Bears and teams like that have lived on forever.
At number 25 on the future composite score here, we have
the Washington soon-to-be something else's.
The football team / commanders / admirals, whatever. 110 was the overall score here on everything that we looked at. The best thing this team has going for it is loaded with talent.
And that's the sad part of this. When your ownership and your front office are this bad, where are you ever going to get?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, name me a team in NFL history that has ever had a superiorly bad owner that won a championship.
Right.
I'll save you the trouble because I did this before we ever did this. There's not one.
Mm-hmm.
People say, oh, Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones was not Jerry Jones in the mid-'90s.
And
Jerry Jones became Jerry Jones after those teams.
Right. And you may ask, how can this team be so talented? They ended up at 14 overall on the talent scale. And then we have their front office at 26. Well, it was the front office that built the talent, right? Well, I mean,
some of this you couldn't screw up. You had the second pick with Chase Young on the board. I mean, you could have taken somebody else, but I don't think you can do that and have an IQ above salad dressing.
Right. Plus, it's a little, it's a newer GM there. So,
well, I mean, the front office part of that, I've seen multiple different GMs in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's never changed? Guys walking out the door for nothing and you paying big contracts to guys that come in and don't do squat.
Right. We're through the first 7. Let's take a quick break here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. First hour, always brought to you by Ingles. Low prices, love the savings. Will continue after this.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Rain showing up in the forecast for late week, and looks like warmer temperatures are here for early February. Also, nice to hit the 50s today, and we'll be up there again for tomorrow with some rain coming in for the mid and late week forecast for Asheville. Low tonight, even freeze in the valley, 20s with elevation. Chance for an afternoon light shower Wednesday, high 49, low 42. Half-inch rains Thursday, 57. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
I bought football tickets for my husband's birthday, and now I'm in a football bubble. All I see online are articles and ads about football. I hate feeling manipulated. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
The iHeartRadio app celebrates Black History Month by honoring the icons and anthems from past to present. From Aretha Franklin to Drake, Bob Marley to Beyonce, the most influential artists of all time are streaming now on Black History Month Radio. Plus, enjoy Black History Month playlists curated by dozens of artists like John Legend, Smokey Robinson, and Lizzo. And of course, dozens of Black culture podcasts to inspire and educate. Download the free iHeartRadio app and discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
Monsters of Rock and Roll website. March 18th and 19th, Monster TNT explodes into the Egg Center. Here they come, metallic monsters and raw horsepower. Starring the high-flying school bus called Higher Education. 3 monster shows. Tickets now at MonsterTNT.com or buy at Allen's Jewelry and Pawn for free pit passes. Monster TNT, the Egg Center.
Nothing says I love you like a clean home, especially these days. This Valentine's Day, call the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Right now, mention ESPN Asheville, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $119 plus a free hallway. Book online at ZeroResAsheville.com.
Got a party of 10 coming in, and we need to flip those 2 tables.
Leah's restaurant is fully booked night after night.
Section 3 is still behind.
She no longer has reservations about finally finding a hostess.
Why doesn't 23 have menus? Oh, because they're in my hand.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm so excited because I'm at the quarter pole. I'm at the quarter pole with PhD weight loss. 120 pounds is my goal, and I'm down in 9 weeks, 30 pounds. I am having great success with the PhD weight loss program, and Jeremy, I know I've got you beat by a little bit, but again, I had more weight to lose than you did.
You beat me to it. I was going to say that exact same thing to defend myself.
Yes.
I am down 21 pounds, and one of the things I love about this so much is the convenience. That's how I got into this shape in the first place. Fast food was always more convenient. Now I have healthy, nutritious food that's actually good for me and good for my goals, thanks to PhD weight loss.
And we're looking good. When you look at the 2 of us, you can tell the weight has just fallen off with PhD, and if you need to to do the same thing. You've got health issues like type 2 diabetes. They can help you alleviate those problems by getting rid of that unwanted fat. MyPhDWeightLoss.com. MyPhDWeightLoss.com.
So much of life these days is rushing around from one place to another. Sometimes you just want to enjoy the journey on the way to the destination. And part of what makes it a little more enjoyable is an appreciation for the folks who help you get there. At Ingalls, we know that the people who send you on your way are the same ones who keep you coming back.
I think you should take it for a spin. Are you serious?
Ingalls, all the ingredients for family.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling? Because I love football.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. And we are projecting the future here. We're taking the state of the NFL. We have gone through the markers that we feel are important to the success of an NFL franchise. How good is your ownership? How good's your front office? What's your quarterback situation like?
Those are the things that never change.
Right.
People get locked into coaches, and coaches do 100% matter.
Mm-hmm.
Your owner matters more than your coach does, and I will argue that to the death.
Yep.
And if you don't believe me, look at the Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers, Green Bay Packers, just a slew of teams that are in that vicinity. What never changes? Your ownership.
Mm-hmm.
What does change? Your coach. Andy Reid leaves. Let's say Andy Reid retired tomorrow. Do you think the walls would come tumbling around in Kansas City?
No.
No. They'd give the job to Eric Bieniemy or Mike Kafka,
right,
and it would be just fine. By the way, he is one of the finalists for the New York Giants offensive coordinator job.
Kafka?
Yeah.
Nice.
Which would officially give them my favorite staff of this whole hiring cycle. And we would probably go back to being the worst team in New York all over again.
Well, we have worked our way through the first several teams here on the list, 25 through 32. At number 24 on the future prognostication, the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints come in with a total score of 107. They do really well when it comes to ownership, but when it comes to the quarterback situation, we all know it's not good.
Well, you just can't be in this shape. You know, Sean Payton was the great elixir. He made Trevor Siemian look like a decent quarterback in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. Now you're going to turn the job over to Dennis Allen. What do you think is going to happen? The defense will still be good, and you're not going to be able to score. Every team in the NFL knows exactly what you're doing. And you're so good that you're never going to be in the top 10. I would argue even with Dennis Allen, you're not going to be in the top 10. So you never get a shot at that high-level quarterback, and you just play this perpetual cycle of, well, it could be Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill or Trevor Siemian or name young quarterback X.
Right. Well, I mean, Trevor Siemian kills it because that's a bad contract. I mean, paying $12 million a year to a guy who part-time plays quarterback.
That's Taysom Hill, not Trevor Siemian.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that only works if he plays quarterback. And I'll be honest with you, if I'm Dennis Allen, I don't know who my quarterback is. I can tell you who it's not.
It ain't going to be Taysom Hill.
I'm not paying you that to play quarterback.
Well, it's the only one you got under contract for the coming year. So
that's fine. You can re-sign Jameis Winston.
Somehow. With all of your $74 million under the cap.
Everybody makes a big deal about how over the cap they are. You can continue to fix this. If you don't want to just fall off the world, you can remedy this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the problem is that every time you do that, it gets worse on the backside.
Right.
Something that your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are about to find out firsthand.
At number 23, it is the New York Jets.
Jets, Jets. I was really happy to see us this high.
New York Jets with a total score of 105. Well, it all comes to your rookie quarterback. You scored
that certainly doesn't hurt.
Right, you scored really, really high because in the quarterback contract because you got 3 more years left on a number 2 pick in the draft.
And the thing that this scale almost, it was not intended to do this, but it really did. It's almost a hope scale.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what this became, is who has hope. The Jets have, right now, more hope than the New Orleans Saints.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people would gristle, but New Orleans is more talented. Okay. How are you going to get over that hump? There is a path to the Jets doing it. Do I believe in that front office? No. No, I don't. Do I believe in that ownership group? No. I believe in gas station sushi more than I believe in that ownership group.
Right. And I also look at youth with these teams. New Orleans, their talent is getting older. And New York's is as well, but they're really young to start with. So I think you have to give the nod to the New York Jets here. Are you still out on or are you in on your front office situation?
I mean, I'm fine with Joe Douglas. I always have been. I think he's a really smart scout. And he just completely robbed the Seattle Seahawks on a deal for Jamal Adams.
Very true.
That's why he's bumped up as high as he is. Now, some of the free agent deals, those look like every Jets front office member I've ever seen before him.
Pretty much. We'll continue down the list in just a moment. First, let's get just a bit outside.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
The NFL has a new undertaking. They need to find out better how to manage pain amongst their athletes. And so they are awarding $1 million in research funding to 2 teams of medical researchers that are going to study the effects of cannabinoids on pain management. They are trying to figure out how can we use cannabis, weed, whatever, all of this to help guys through their chronic pain. Now, the problem with this is that so many people use these nowadays, so many people use CBD and stuff like that, that it's such a great seller that there hasn't been, this is what the league says anyway, that there hasn't been definitive studies that tell you how well cannabinoids work for pain management. I don't think I've ever met a doctor who didn't say, yeah, that works. You should do that.
I mean, it can't hurt anything.
Right.
I mean, it might push your Funyun bill a little higher, but that's about it.
A little bit. But, I think this is a great move by the NFL. It's a, what did they call it in the article? A progressive move by the NFL. Because how much longer are we going to continue, or we're trying to get away from all of the pain pills and the shots and all of that. If you can use cannabis among the NFL players to manage their pain, I think it's the best way to go. I really do.
Lincoln Riley found something to manage his pain. His former quarterback.
New quarterback.
Caleb Williams announced he is transferring to USC in what might possibly be the most, no kidding, headline I've ever seen in my life. Do you even know who the other candidates for him were?
No.
You're wearing one of their logos.
Georgia? Doesn't
he chose the Trojans over UCLA. If he had gone to UCLA, I swear to you, you could have given me plus 20 trillion on that, and I would have said, Caleb Williams is not going to play with Chip Kelly.
Right.
Against Lincoln Riley.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to Oklahoma and Wisconsin.
Okay.
I'm going to say this, and I want it on record that I said these two things, and I said them together. USC just became the big scary monster out west.
Mm-hmm.
They will be in the top 5 to start next season.
Mm-hmm.
You mark my words that I said that, and they are going to be really difficult to play. There's nobody in the Pac-12 that will be within a touchdown of them. Ever. They will not play one game in conference next year where they're not more than a touchdown favorite.
Okay.
And that's why Lincoln Riley went to USC.
Yeah.
He saw a cap on Oklahoma with them going to the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
We're never going to be the no doubt best team. Or I can go out west, bring everybody with me. I'm the best coach on this coast by a mile.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, and I live in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I want to say is Jackson Dart will win a Heisman at Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
That's where he transferred. I was bouncing back and forth if I wanted to continue my – because I said he would do it with Lincoln Riley when Lincoln Riley took the USC job.
Right.
Yeah, I don't care.
Really?
After Lane Kiffin's, what do you call himself, the Portal King?
Mm-hmm.
He photoshopped himself on Joe Exotic's face and put a big placard on a tiger's face that said Portal.
Mm-hmm. He is the Portal King.
I love Lane Kiffin.
I saw transfer.
I love Lane Kiffin. There is no coach in all of college football that I love more than Lane Kiffin.
And I think the recruits believe that as well.
100% they do. That's why he does it.
Mm-hmm.
But Caleb Williams officially to USC in the least surprising story I think I have ever told.
All right, as we are continuing to count down the state of the NFL, where all these franchises stand on their futures, what's it look like? At number 22, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders come in with a total score of 103, and Jeremy and I did all the legwork on this. I did the talent ranking. Are you proud of me? I had Derek Carr at 11.
Well, I mean, you couldn't have him any lower than that.
You always talk about how I poo-poo the Raiders. I at least give them credit for that because I think it's a good contract as well.
He's the great elixir for the Raiders because there have been, and look, I got to give Mike Mayock credit. He did hit on, a Nate Hobbs, a Max Crosby. The problem is if you look at the hauls on these teams since he got there, they were not good. And there are spots of this roster that are just bereft of talent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're bringing in somebody that's experienced running a team, and I am air quoting that as high as I can because he came from Bill. He was the de facto GM. I think this job is better than – this is the one team that I saw where they were, and I went, that's too low.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's at least 3 teams directly in front of them that they have a better prognosis moving forward.
I on some parts I would agree.
No, this is on all parts.
On other parts, I look at it and go, I don't know much about Dolph Ziggler. I don't believe in Josh McDaniels.
Well, Dolph Ziggler's a wrestler. Dave Ziggler is the new GM of the Raiders.
Right. I don't know where that's going to take them, and I hope it works, but I'm still iffy on it. Number 21. This is the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, and to me, this is stupid. This is where the scale, there needs to be something added to it, or that, or I need to go back and look at your numbers and see where you...
Boo-boo kitty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Seattle is about as listless as they come. The ownership group, and that's where all of this comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Allen would do anything to win. I am not convinced that his sister's in the same spot. Because that team has regressed every single year since she's been the majority owner.
Mm-hmm. But you still have Russ.
For now.
And Russ is going to cure a lot of ills if he stays around and you can make that work.
Yeah, you had Russ this year. How'd that work out?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the 10th pick, by the way. I'm really happy that you gave us the 10th pick for Jamal.
He was also
Adams.
hurt for several games. So,
and we've already talked about this. They would have won no more games than they did with him than they did without him.
98's your total score for the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think this is as listless of a franchise as you do. I feel like as long as you have Russ in the building and you have those receivers, how long can you keep the band together? That's the only thing that you have.
There were 2 teams on this entire scale that I went, nope, needed to add something. Got 30 of them right. The 2 that were wrong were back-to-back. Seattle's too high, and the Raiders are too low.
Okay. At number 20, we have the Denver Broncos.
And for me, that feels about right. You got some instability. Now, the thing that could change this drastically is who buys this team.
Yes. The owners, they announced today it is officially going to be up for sale. They're hoping to get the team sold by the start of next year.
And this is going to demolish the record for the highest price tag on a franchise ever. I mean, it's $4.5 million at least. It may go higher than that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get the right... See, this is one of those times that I just look at it and go, how is Mark Cuban not going to bid on the Denver Broncos? I know he's got an NBA team.
Has he wanted to get into football?
He wanted to get into baseball, and they wouldn't let him because, well,
it's
baseball. I don't see how the really affluent, the really liquid, that you can't keep out of the NFL because of how hard it is to pass those benchmarks. I don't see how somebody like that doesn't look at Peyton Manning and John Elway and go, hey, you guys want to throw $40 at this? And I'll just pick up the rest.
This is a team I really like their talent. I understand they don't have a quarterback. I mean, they got Drew Lock. He's the one that brought the talent level down. And it's a fairly okay deal, so he ended up in the middle of the pack. But whatever they decide to do at quarterback, they need to hit a home run, and if they do, Super Bowl team.
Yeah, Scott Cutshall said in our comments, Peyton's in 2 groups bidding that are bidding for them.
As he should be. He should be attached to every one of them.
I don't care who the money guy is. You look at Peyton and go, come on, Peyton. I'll give you 5% of the team just for being the face.
Right.
Go straight see Steve Bisciotti. You will never see me. I'll be up in a booth and they'll show me on television. Peyton's the guy that talks.
You get the Derek Jeter deal, like the Derek Jeter deal with the Miami Marlins, where you just kind of become the face of everything.
Yeah, you're just the guy. You go do the things. I'll sit back here and worry about this money.
Right. Denver Broncos at number 20 with an overall score of 98. At number 19, it's the Cleveland Browns. The Browns
get killed by two things: your quarterback and your kooky Madookie owner.
Mm-hmm. Your quarterback contract is not good. Your quarterback is not good.
No.
But everything else is phenomenal. That's the problem.
I'll be honest with you. The fact you didn't have them at 32 because you did the contract scores.
Yes.
The fact you didn't have him 32 blows my mind because there's no way you don't pay him. None.
Well, I mean, you can't take that into account. We both know that Matt Ryan is the worst contract currently in the NFL.
He's the worst one that pen's been put to paper.
They should not. They should not sign him. I'm sure they're going to, though.
Baker Mayfield's contract is like when you say you're at a bar or restaurant with your friends, you say, "Oh, I'm going to leave," and they go, "Have one more." He's the one more of the NFL.
Right.
You know it's coming. You know it's a bad idea, but you're gonna do it.
I mean, I'd lowball the heck out of it.
They're not going to.
$15 million a year. That's all I'm going to give you, and see what you can do with that. Because I don't know. I mean, there are other teams that are going to jump up to pay him if he doesn't get paid by the Browns. I just implore the Browns not to be the ones to do it.
Well, the problem for them is that they've drafted so well that a lot of their players are getting ready to get very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And so your talent pool, which is what buoyed them up in the past, is going to just thin aggressively.
Right.
As soon as you pay Baker, you can't afford to pay other guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the catch-22, and that's the definition of purgatory in the NFL.
At number 18, it's the Minnesota Vikings. They got a new GM in town. They're talking with Jim Harbaugh about coming to be the new coach. But as it looks for this team and the way it's built, they got a total score of 91 on all of the metrics that we used. Owner score of 15, front office is 22, quarterback talent is 12, quarterback contract at 26, because, I mean, that's a lot. For 1 year for $45 million for Kirk Cousins is a lot, and their overall talent's really good at 16.
I think that job, that was another one that instigated this idea, because the Jim Harbaugh thing started breaking to Miami. Oh, he's going to go to Miami. If you told me I could have either one of those jobs, I'll take Minnesota 100 times out of 100 and will not think twice about it.
Yep.
And that's coming from somebody that hates cold weather. I get Justin Jefferson and Irv Smith and Dalvin Cook and all these weapons. Yeah, I'm fine. I'll find a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Cousins, fine. I can draft a guy. Could be Kellen Mond. Could be a lot of people. I'll take my chances. And I'll lather up and do it with Minnesota 100 times out of 100.
Okay. So you want to keep Kirk Cousins for the 1 year you have him, or are you going to try to trade him and get something out of him?
For me, I'm fine with Kirk Cousins. I mean, if he walks, he walks. I'm not giving you another $90 million guaranteed.
No.
But I mean, for another year, yeah, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
That team's close enough to contention.
I agree.
I have always thought Minnesota was poorly coached. And then you put somebody like Jim Harbaugh in that. Oh, that would be two teams in the NFC that just crushed this hiring cycle.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Jacksonville Jaguars are waiting 2 weeks to talk to Kevin O'Connell. You remember that ownership thing I said?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about.
Next up is the Philadelphia Eagles at number 17. They got a total score of 90, and again, you're killed by your quarterback. He doesn't have the talent, and that's the one thing on this list. Well, overall talent as well.
And that's about to change because you have 3 first-round picks.
Of course. And that's going to take a market jump.
So long as you don't completely typhoon the draft, their grade could be 15 points better 3 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
And you put that around your cheap quarterback. We've just seen this happen before. My belief on quarterbacks is changing by the day.
What do you mean?
I have always thought you had to have the no doubt top 5 in the league quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I am not as sold on that anymore.
I mean, I've never thought it's a necessity that you have to have one of the guys. But you have to have at least a guy who's in the top half of the league. You can't have a completely terrible. Yeah, I mean, look at Cleveland.
Jalen Hurts will be fine for 2 more years. He'll be fine with the amount of talent they're going to put around him, because I do believe in Jeffrey Lurie and I do believe in Howie Roseman.
Mm-hmm.
I think they will be fine. Am I telling you you're going to win a Super Bowl? No. But you're in drastically better shape than a lot of other teams in this league.
And you'll be able to compete for your division.
Mm-hmm. Now, what you do from there, I don't know.
Right.
Because I'm not going to pay Jalen Hurts. But 2 years on a rookie deal, you took him in the 2nd round. You're going to have one of the cheapest starting quarterbacks in the NFL. You can just flood this roster with talent. And Philadelphia is an attractive place to go.
Yep.
I understand how it would work.
So that's your bottom 16 in the NFL. We'll do the top 16 coming up in the second hour of the program, after we do Green on Green, after Sports Center as well. But there you go. You got Philadelphia, Minnesota, Cleveland, Denver, and Seattle. Las Vegas, New York Jets, New Orleans, Washington, Chicago, and then it goes Atlanta and Carolina. The NFC South well represented in the bottom of this list. And then the New York Giants, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Houston Texans, and lastly, the Detroit Lions as the worst teams in the NFL, least amount of future as far as our prognostication goes for these teams. Any surprises in that bottom 16?
No, I still maintain the Raiders are too low and the Seahawks are too high.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Las Vegas should have been a top half team?
Vegas is ahead of every team we've done so far, for me.
Okay. I can't get down there. Of the teams that are on this list, I look at Denver, and I think that's the team, depending on what happens with the quarterback, and we couldn't figure in what's going to happen.
No.
We could only
have to keep Aaron Rodgers
right.
in Green Bay. You have to do
right,
because originally we were going to play quarterback matchmaker, which we're going to do next week instead.
Yes,
you can't factor those things in, because if you're wrong, it completely boo-boos the argument.
Mm-hmm.
But the Denver thing, you've always been higher on Denver than I am.
I have, because they are loaded with talent on the defensive side, and now the only piece missing. I mean, you think about that.
And I don't think it's the only piece missing.
Really?
No.
What else on offense do they need other than maybe an offensive lineman or two?
It would be, I would say, a couple of offensive linemen. I'm not as sold the defense is going to be as good as you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. Really, to me, I look at it and go, okay, what do you really have outside of the weapons? Because the defense, you don't have Von Miller anymore.
Right.
Oh, we got Bradley Chubb. Oh, you mean the guy that lives hurt all the time? Yeah, sorry, I'm not giving you credit for that.
Right.
I mean, he's not a negative, but I'm not jumping up and down about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you view the Broncos the way I view the Raiders.
I think you're probably right about that.
And the discrepancy for me between Derek Carr and anything that's going to end up in Denver makes up for that.
I would agree. I mean, unless
don't say Aaron Rodgers. Don't say Aaron Rodgers.
You put Jimmy Garoppolo on that team, I like them a little better
than the Raiders.
No.
Okay.
No. Than they are currently. Like Jimmy G would be. It wouldn't be a marked step up, would it?
I ruffled some 49ers fans yesterday.
How so?
Mad ruffled some 49er feathers. Just speaking the truth.
Mm-hmm. About Jimmy Garoppolo not getting the blame.
I heard Brady Quinn say the exact same thing I said this morning and went, wonder if you listen to him.
Yeah.
Because all I got was a lot of very poorly spelled, I believe they were intended to be obscenities.
Right. And Jeremy's thing is he shouldn't be getting all the blame. Jimmy G should not be saddled with that sombrero for the loss in the playoffs. No. And I agree. I'll agree with you. Jimmy Garoppolo is very good. He is a steady quarterback, and he is going to be better if he ends up in Denver than Teddy Bridgewater was. But
that's not even a debate
right.
to me.
But what I'm saying is, does it drastically improve this team? Will it drastically improve their record if Jimmy G is their quarterback? Maybe by 2 games?
Oh, no, I think it would be drastic.
You think so?
If you told me right now Jimmy Garoppolo wound up in Denver, what they go, 8-9 this year? 9-8?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
I would go probably 11 Oh, that division's so tough, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's 2 games, but those are 2 really big games. Those are 2 not a playoff team to a playoff team games.
Right.
That's not like the Lions going from 2-15 to 4-13.
Right.
That is the jump.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get in the tournament and you see what happens.
Yep. We are here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. So you've had a hot streak lately. How did Greene on Greene go for you last night?
It was 2-2 last night. I got burned by an overtime. I was so right until I wasn't.
Until you weren't.
Sixers. The Sixers!
Mm-hmm.
That's the team that's the Sixers and the New Orleans Pelicans. Yeah, I think I'll go back to that well tonight.
All right, we got Greene on Greene coming up just a little bit here on ESPN Asheville. Just a programming note, tonight at 7 o'clock, we will have the pregame show starting for the North Carolina Tar Heels, getting ready to take on the Louisville Cardinals. We'll see if they can improve and win their 4th game in a row tonight here on ESPN Asheville. Tip-off set for 8 o'clock. Pregame starts at 7. Greene on Greene is coming up next.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Hey guys, I'm Ziggy, your local Philly girl, owner of Ziggy's Bakery and Deli. I've created a traditional northern deli with only the most authentic cheesesteaks outside of Philadelphia, served with provolone, white American, or Cheese Whiz. Our other classic deli sandwiches are made with the best quality meats and cheeses, available sliced by the pound. Join us for breakfast for house-made bagels with our custom cream cheeses. Or for something heartier, try a pork roll, egg, and cheese or house-cured lox. Ziggy's Bakery and Deli, in the corner of Asheville Commons, 1550 Hendersonville Road, open 8 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday.
They say singing can help you remember things, so here's some tips for parents out there during these tough times.
Number 1. Make sure your kids wash their hands for 20 seconds after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside. 2. Virtual play dates. Social and physical distancing can help save lives. 3. Tell them they're safe and show your love and pride. Yes, we'll get through this together.
Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Amazing pain relief for a former professional baseball player, and you have access to the same life-changing treatments as retired Braves pitcher Jose Alvarez.
I put a lot of stress and strain and work on my right arm, but my right elbow took most of the damage with 3 surgeries.
Arthritis developed and the pain was unbearable.
It wasn't just pain when I was trying to play sports. It was anytime I was moving the right elbow. It was pretty excruciating at times.
That's when Jose discovered QC Kinetics and their regenerative treatments that help the body heal itself, restoring damaged tissue and providing relief with no surgery or downtime. Jose's message to the medical professionals at QC Kinetics?
My elbow is feeling outstanding. Where were you 10 years ago, for crying out loud?
QC Kinetics is right here. Call for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 826-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. QC Kinetics. 828-333-9517.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a speed bump. Did you hear what I said? I'm a speed bump. And if you have cut-rate car insurance, the cost to reattach your muffler could really be a bump in the road. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
What if one day you went to your secret hiding place, and instead of what you came for, you found a phone number, 1-800-662-HELP? What would you do? Would you stop and give it some thought? Before drugs take their toll on you and your family, know that there is help. You can quit. For help with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/knowtherisks.
Today on Hey Culligan Smart Home, Smarter Water Softener, here's Kevin.
Hey Culligan, can a smart water softener lift those heavy salt bags for me?
Kevin, it can.
Wait, it can?
Yep, the smart high-efficiency water softener from Culligan can alert your dealer when the salt needs to be replaced, and they'll do it for you, so your water stays soft and you stay away from lifting the bags.
I mean, I could lift them if I wanted.
No judgment here, Kevin. We're happy to do it, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Coffee's for closers only.
Get them the money.
Then when you get the money, you get the power.
That watch costs more than your car.
Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
Sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you get unlucky. Last night I did both. I got very lucky that the Miami Heat played absolutely no one, so they got run off the floor. And I got unlucky that the Sixers tied it late and went to overtime and not only got me against the number, got me in the over-under as well.
Oh.
Tonight, 4 picks in the NBA. The first one, said Miami Heat. They play tonight in Toronto. And I have a funny feeling it's going to look more like that Miami Heat team you're used to and less like that albatross of a disaster that was last night against the Boston Celtics. The Heat are a 2.5-point dog. I like them outright. I think they're going to win this game outright. They're good enough defensively. Toronto's still playing in front of no one, so the home court advantage does not mean that much to me. Night of rest, fully loaded Heat team. Give me the Heat plus 2.5. The Golden State Warriors are a 2.5-point favorite tonight at San Antonio. This is an overreaction. Klay Thompson may not play. Draymond Green likely won't play. I do not care because this San Antonio team is dreadfully bad. And we saw last night exactly what Steph Curry can do when you motivate him. Kevin Porter Jr., maybe don't talk smack to Steph Curry because exactly what happened to you last night will continue to happen to you. I'm taking the Warriors minus 2.5. Finally, the Detroit Pistons are home tonight to the New Orleans Pelicans. Detroit's a 2.5-point favorite, over-under 215.5. These are two of the slowest teams in the NBA. They're neither's at full strength. I don't think Brandon Ingram's going to play in this game, and if he doesn't, I love the under. I'm taking the under regardless, so I'll go under 215.5. Detroit's going to run them off the floor. This New Orleans team is not overly impressive. Give me Detroit minus 2.5.
Gents. Money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. You don't, I got no sympathy for you.
And, of course, you can take those wagers over to betus.com, betus.com. Use the promo code SPORTSOCRACY, and that will give you a 125% deposit bonus. Sportsocracy is the promo code at betus.com. Jeremy, it is... go ahead.
Armchair gave me a live update. The Warriors have gone down to +5. Yeah, I'm going to have all that. I don't care about Klay Thompson. I don't care about Draymond Green. San Antonio is horrid.
Jeremy and I are on the path to weight loss with PhD weight loss. Dr. Ashley Lucas, former professional athlete herself, has worked with professional athletes all about finding the proper nutrition to help you burn fat. And burning the unwanted fat is exactly what we need to happen for us. We have a combined weight loss goal of 200 pounds lost on this program. And so far, we're already over 50 pounds. I've lost more than 30. Jeremy has lost more than 20 pounds. And, you never face any pressure when you go into these offices, right, Jeremy?
No. And this is the lowest I have weighed since I was 24 years old, and the best I have felt since I was in high school. Nutritious, convenient food, and I'm burning weight falling off of me.
And they are all about keeping you on the path and keeping you energized to lose the weight. All you got to do is just go to myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com today, and set up your consultation.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Rain showing up in the forecast for late week, and looks like warmer temperatures are here for early February. Also, nice to hit the 50s today, and we'll be up there again for tomorrow with some rain coming in for the mid and late week forecast for Asheville. Low tonight, even freeze in the valley, 20s with elevation. Chance for an afternoon light shower Wednesday, high 49, low 42. Half-inch rains Thursday, 57. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
I bought football tickets for my husband's birthday, and now I'm in a football bubble. All I see online are articles and ads about football. I hate feeling manipulated. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Paid for by Consumer Tort Network. Always check with your doctor before discontinuing any medication. Has your doctor told you that you have cancer? Have you taken Zantac or another generic version of this popular drug to help treat stomach issues? Then pay close attention to this message. The FDA said it detected low levels of a probable cancer-causing chemical known as NDMA in Zantac and other generic forms of the drug. Some of the largest stores in the country have them off the shelves. If you've been diagnosed with cancer and you've taken Zantac or a generic equivalent, call the Consumer Tort Network now at 800-513-6073. You could receive a free cash award and have your medical expenses covered. We represent some of the largest law firms in America. They have proven records fighting the big pharmaceutical giants, and there's no upfront cost to you. They only get paid if you win. We're here to help, so please call now. 800-513-6073. 800-513-6073. That's 800-513-6073.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. It is official. Tom Brady has made his decision. The Buccaneers quarterback announced on Instagram he will retire after 22 NFL seasons and 7 Super Bowl championships. Says it's difficult for him to write, but he's not going to make that competitive commitment anymore, that he loved his NFL career. Now it's time to focus his time and energy on other things that require his attention. So as Brady rides off into the sunset, the Buccaneers need a quarterback. ESPN's Dan Graziano explains potential options for Tampa.
There are going to be some interesting veterans available. And even if they can't get into the Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson kind of sweepstakes, you could, Jimmy Garoppolo and guys like that are going to be available. So I would expect the Bucs to look for a veteran solution first before looking inward, where they have a second-round pick from last year in Kyle Trask.
Dan Graziano. The Broncos officially up for sale in what will likely have the biggest price tag in North American sports history. NBA, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, among those out for Golden State tonight against San Antonio in the second half of a back-to-back.
Brought to you by Capital One Auto Navigator, where you can find a car, get pre-qualified instantly, and see your real monthly payment without impacting your credit score. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/Auto Navigator.
Now your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Pay. That's pay. Enter it on our station website now.
Log on now to ESPNABL.com.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingalls Supermarkets.
It is ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Welcome back into the Sportsocracy here in the Ingalls studio. And no, if you're tuning in, you're just getting off work, this is not the place for the Tom Brady memorials. Look, we all know who Tom Brady is. We know how great he is. We don't need to beleaguer this point over and over and over again, and we've got a whole lot of time to talk about what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to do with their quarterback situation, because that's what everybody wants to know. How are the champs going to get back on top, Jeremy?
They're not. They're not.
Don't try to poo on my parade.
This is one of those times that people are going to waste more time on a story that goes absolutely nowhere.
Right.
Will they make a move for Jimmy Garoppolo or Aaron Rodgers? No, they won't. Because they're crushed against the salary cap. Much more likely you ride with Kyle Trask. Mm-hmm. See what he's got. Give him a year. If I'm Bruce Arians, I am looking for the exit strategy.
I wish we could do it to where we could keep Byron Leftwich. That would be awesome.
Well, if Jacksonville keeps messing that up, you have there is a possibility that you can do that.
See, if I was Byron, I'd be sitting down with Bruce right now going, hey, don't you want to retire right now? Don't you want to go out on top? Just let me have this job.
I could easily make the argument that Jacksonville's a better job than yours right now.
Okay. Agree to disagree, but whatever. I mean, they have the quarterback, obviously. But other than that, that's the only thing that they have over the Tampa franchise. Anyway, yes, Tom Brady retiring today, officially made his statement, said he's no longer going to he's no longer going to make the commitment to do the things that it takes to do day in and day out to be a superstar in the NFL any longer. So 22 years, it's all over for Tom Brady. What we're talking about is the state of the NFL and each and every NFL franchise. Jeremy and I have come up with, Jeremy came up with the formula here on how can we tell who's got a good future and who doesn't. So we ranked everybody 5 different ways. As far as quarterback talent, your overall talent on your roster, your quarterback's contract, because that matters a lot for what you can do going down the road, how your front office is situated, and the ownership. And then we took all of that, combined the scores, and we came up with the overall state of the NFL rankings here. We've already gone through the bottom 16 teams in the NFL. Now it's time for the top half of the league. And the number 1 team, I hope he's listening, Brian Hall, will be happy to know that at number 16, just on the bottom scale of the top half of the league, it's the Miami Dolphins, coming in with an overall score of 88.
They still have a young quarterback. They still have talent. I firmly believe they're going to hire Mike McDaniels, which is the right call. Mike McDaniel. I always want to put an S on his name, which is the right call to me. Sports freak Brian Hall calls him Doogie Howser, and now I can't call him anything else. Because he is just a wispy little feller.
He is. He looks.
He might be the only head coach in NFL history that's smaller than the kicker.
Mm-hmm. He looks like a college kid.
But he is really bright. Keep the defensive staff intact. I mean, you saw good things from Miami.
Yes.
The biggest attraction for them, the front office has not been particularly good. I don't love the fact that you're going to force whoever this coach is. You're going to force Chris Greer on them. I don't like these arranged marriages. See, I'm one of those, if I'm firing the coach, I'm just a clean house.
GM, too.
Especially if you've had this many draft whiffs. And I've even liked what he's done. I don't do the arranged marriage thing. That virtually never works out. But Stephen Ross, that's another detraction for me.
Yeah.
I would say their roster is top half of the league. You had it at 18. That's vaguely where I would be.
It's in the ballpark.
But you still got a value in Tua for 2 more years. After that could get very uncomfortable because we're halfway through the rookie deal.
Right.
Taking away the option, and I still don't know what I would do with him.
Well, everybody thought he was it was definite. He's a bust after 1 year. I think he showed some improvement this year.
Well, outside of Josh Rosen, you should really never say a quarterback's a bust after 1 year unless it's Josh Rosen. It's because a lot of people say that about Josh Allen after a year.
We did.
We didn't. Unless you have a squirrel in your pocket, there was no we.
I'm saying those of us who doubted him after 1 year, we did.
If anything, I loved him more after a year because I watched him demolish the Miami Dolphins and went, yeah, that's going to be good.
I didn't think he would be quite this good. I didn't think he'd be top 3, top 5 quarterback in the NFL, but he is. And go for them. I don't think Tua can ever get there, though.
I don't either.
At number 15, this is where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fall in with an overall score of 85. You got a whole lot of talent on this team. You've got an excellent GM in Jason Light. The problem is you just lost Tom Brady, and on the talent scale of quarterbacks, you just went from top 5 to nothing. Because we don't
dead last.
Right, because we don't know what Kyle Trask is. I mean, people say, "Oh, Kyle Trask has got to be better than Mason Rudolph." I don't know that.
I don't know that. I didn't love him coming out, and I don't love him in this. He fits Bruce Arians like I fit in a ballerina costume. That is a horrid idea.
Why?
Mr. No Risk It, No Biscuit does not need to turn things over to Kyle Trask. That's one of those where I would be. See, you said Bruce and Byron Leftwich should be having a conversation.
Yeah.
I'm more looking at the Glazers and Jason Light going, Bruce, buddy, this was fun while it lasted. We can't afford to bring in another quarterback. and you turning this kid loose in that kind of offense, he could throw 700 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
He tends to he didn't get pressured a ton at Florida, and he loves throwing off his back foot.
Yep.
That has 25 interception season written all over it. I don't care how many he threw at Florida.
So we go right back to Jameis Winston. Or Jameis Winston-esque.
It's not quite like that because Jameis didn't have to be pressured to do that. Jameis just, Mike Evans done her somewhere.
Right.
You go get it.
Right. But overall, this is a very, very talented team, and I have scoffed at every time you were saying before Tom Brady retires, or before he retired, you kept saying as soon as he retires, you're going to be awful. No, we're not. We still have a lot of talent.
You're not going to be good. You're still in a very bad division.
Mm-hmm.
You're the highest team in this division by almost 10 full slots.
Yep.
But I wouldn't be shocked if somebody else won this division.
Mm-hmm.
That's how important that is.
Yes.
It's one thing to go from MVP caliber quarterback to journeyman backup.
Mm-hmm.
To take that level of roster and give it to a second-year quarterback that you took at the end of the second round, good luck with that.
Even losing Tom Brady, there's only one team in that division that I'm afraid of.
There should probably be more than that.
Okay.
The NFC South, going into the offseason, there is no division that is more up in the air than the NFC South. It's also, without a doubt, the worst division in football.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Panther fan.
I was talking about the Carolina Panthers. That's the one team I'm scared of.
You should have a healthy fear of the Saints.
A little bit.
And an understanding that the Falcons could beat you.
Yeah, maybe not. At number 14, the Dallas Cowboys. They come in with a 78 overall score.
And if you want to know how much the quarterback's contract matters, here it is.
Yeah.
Because Dak Prescott's talent to how much he's being paid is 24th in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think he can ever be Mahomes-like or Joe Burrow or keep doing that.
Right. It's been long enough, I think. He's been in this league long enough for us to go, okay, this is what he is.
Well, I mean, after 6 years, you have to stop going, well, when he turns the corner, how far down the hall was that corner?
Right.
He's been walking at it for 6 years, and I've never seen him turn it.
Right.
So that's just who he is. And you look at the roster's incredibly top-heavy.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I will say is that with Stephen Jones making more decisions, they've drafted better. I mean, Micah Parsons is a home run.
Mm-hmm.
But even that, I look at and go, okay, you got a little lucky with Trayvon Diggs. You needed a corner. He was the only corner left. And you kind of have to look at those things.
Well, they've got another one. They've got Kelvin Joseph, who they drafted and got hurt. So, I mean, he's going to come in next year and he'll make a difference.
And that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good pick. I can't tell you it's going to be a home run pick.
No.
But that roster's really top-heavy.
Yeah.
So you're going to start losing high-end players fast with Dak signed to the deal that he signed to. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't not pay him and go to Cooper Rush.
Right.
Who I could argue is still the best Rush. Certainly better than the band Rush.
Oh, stop that. Yeah, we did overrated bands yesterday.
Oh, the bracket's coming out tomorrow.
In the uncensored third hour.
Yeah, we had the tenor of that changed slightly in the happy hour. Yeah, we have a bracket that you'll be able to vote on.
And don't miss out on any of our happy hours. You never know where they're going to go sometimes, and what is going to be said and what we're going to be laughing about. So definitely check those out, thesportsocracy.com. Just click on the live video link, hit subscribe on the YouTube channel, and you'll always be there when we're there. Or at least you'll get an alert for it. At number 13, we've got the Tennessee Titans.
This falls back on quarterback contract again.
They have the same score as the Dallas Cowboys at 78, but it is the quarterback contract that ranks at number 25 because over the next 2 years, you got to pay Ryan Tannehill $75 million.
Oh, and I'm going to tie – Stephen Tao just said something in the comments, and I want to tie it into Ryan Tannehill. He said, why is Derek Carr okay, but Dak Prescott's awful? Because one of them makes twice as much money as the other one does. And yes. I'm leveraged against him for 4 more years.
Mm-hmm.
They're the same quarterback. I hate to break this to anybody. Dak Prescott and Derek Carr, they're the same guy. One of them just makes $15 million more a year,
mm-hmm.
which is, Amari Cooper or DeMarcus Lawrence or something of that level.
Right.
Ryan Tannehill, he's a step below this. He also makes more money than Derek Carr.
Yes.
So that's where that's how that gets.
Yeah, it's not a great situation with the quarterback, but at least he's a quarterback that has taken you to the playoffs, and he's won you playoff games. Now it's time to take the next step. And you look at the rest of this roster, I mean, their talent is unbelievable. The defense stepped up in a way this year that I didn't think was possible.
The defense is good. Your grade on the front office is a little high to me. This is one of the worst drafting teams in the NFL, and it is not all that close.
Mm-hmm.
I think about the first-round picks over the last 5 years. One of them survived a year.
Yeah, the Isaiah Wilson deal was not
I got news for you.
favorable.
Caleb Farley was not much better this year. I think he's better than Isaiah Wilson. I don't know that you can actually be that bad.
Right.
I would say that's probably the floor of how bad a draft pick can be.
I'm sorry, I lost my list here, and it's taking a second to pull it back up. At number 12, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger is gone. He's out the door. And what are they going to do without Big Ben? You got to find a place to find that quarterback talent, because right now you got Mason Rudolph, and he is, as you can tell by the graphic, 31 out of 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Projected for next year anyway.
This is the best example of how important upstairs is. Because you asked, what are they going to do at quarterback?
Yep.
Figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what I think they'll do. Mike Tomlin, I believe Omar Khan will be the next GM. The Rooney family, they're going to do what they've done for 40 years. They're going to figure it out. They will find a way to be competitive. What that path is, I do not know.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get away from Kenny Pickett winding up there, because with those weapons and his intelligence and he's a much smaller, slightly more mobile version of what Ben was 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Not primetime Ben, but the slightly diminished early 30s Ben. You're getting a very compact version of that in Kenny Pickett. So I'm a big fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one of those teams I just look at and go, you've been good basically my entire life. Well, there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
Different quarterbacks, different coaches, none of that matters. You just continue to find a way to figure it out. And that's where I'm at with Pittsburgh. The only knock I have on that entire roster, you don't have a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is fine.
Everything else?
And you made the playoffs with were there 5 quarterbacks in the NFL worse than Ben Roethlisberger this year?
No.
Because PFF says there's not.
I
I tend to agree with them. So you made the playoffs with that. You don't have to have Aaron Rodgers to be better than that. Virtually any quarterback you can bring in there would be better than what you got from Ben this year.
Mm-hmm.
Mason Rudolph, not applicable.
I was going to say anything.
Please don't do that.
Right. I was going to say any quarterback that you can bring in there, they're going to be better than Mason Rudolph.
And that defense is good. All you have to do is keep drafting the way the Pittsburgh Steelers draft.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
There are certain teams that just get the benefit of the doubt, and that's one of them.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are one. At number 11, the Indianapolis Colts. You get saddled with the Carson Wentz deal.
Number 31 in the NFL.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, you got 3 more years at $33 million a year with him. Like, that is awful.
Yeah, Philadelphia, I feel like should have been 3 picks higher just because they convinced the Indianapolis Colts to take that contract and give them something for it.
Frank Reich believes in his guy. Does he so much still believe in him after this past year? That's the question. I don't know. What is that face? What face are you? What are you doing with your face right now? It's freaking me out. But you have the best running back in the league. You have Jonathan Taylor, who can take you to great heights. We've talked about you need to find some weapons, but I mean, you got a good front office there. Your quarterback talent is middling, but the contract absolutely kills your score.
Oh, virtually everything. Virtually everything that the Indianapolis Colts have is good. You just have that great big albatross that is Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you've got that, your ceiling is limited.
Yep.
I mean, Carson Wentz is, where'd you have him talent-wise? 13?
Somewhere
15,
in there.
somewhere in there?
Yeah.
It's on the screen, but there's a little thing over it, and I can't see it. he's a good quarterback. He's paid like a great quarterback, and that's when it becomes problematic.
Yep. So the Indianapolis Colts coming in at number 11. That leads us to the top 10 teams, the 10 teams in the NFL that have the best future. According to, we got to give this a name. We got to give this scale a name.
We can think about that.
I think we should do that. We'll throw that out to the House of Reprehensibles as well in the chat on the sportsocracy.com, the YouTube channel. What are we going to call this scale that figures in everything? Ownership scores, front office, quarterback talent, overall talent, and the quarterback contract to come up with your official blank score. We will give you the top 10 coming up next here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Rain showing up in the forecast for late week, and looks like warmer temperatures are here for early February. Also, nice to hit the 50s today, and we'll be up there again for tomorrow with some rain coming in for the mid and late week forecast for Asheville. Low tonight, even freeze in the valley, 20s with elevation. Chance for an afternoon light shower Wednesday, high 49, low 42. Half-inch rains Thursday, 57. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Interstate's moving incident-free westbound side of the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. Heavy traffic volume. Sweeten Creek Road southbound stop and go between I-40 and Mills Gap Road. An accident reported in the stretch. Sweeten Creek Road northbound slow between Windsor Drive and Mills Gap Road. Hendersonville Road north and southbound delays between I-40 and Overlook Road. Again, Hendersonville Road southbound slow between the Oak Park area and Fanning Bridge Road. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road north and southbound approaching Long Shoals Road slow. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
I feel like I'm being haunted by a pair of headphones. Everywhere I go is a creepy ad for headphones I looked at one time. I hate that feeling like I'm being watched. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
If you're on the job day in and day out, you know living with pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulders is miserable. The good news, QC Kinetics gets it. They understand guys like you.
They don't have the luxury of taking time off. They want to keep working. We are built for those guys that want to keep working and want to stay active. So the vast majority of who we see are the blue-collar guys like me and you.
QC Kinetics uses biologic therapies, just like pro athletes have used for years, to get you lasting pain relief with no surgery.
I want you to continue working. I want you to continue exercising. The joints are made to be moved.
The treatments at QC Kinetics are fast and non-invasive.
It's not a lot of time commitment on your part. There is no downtime or recovery time. You don't need short-term disability with what we do. We want to keep you active.
Call QC Kinetics now to set up your free no-obligation consultation. Learn how you can get real pain relief and stay on the job.
QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517 in Asheville and Greenville. Call 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents.
And Doug.
Don't you just love the smell of old books? Shh, this is a library. Sorry, ma'am. We're looking for a book titled Liberty Mutual Customizes Your Car Insurance So You Only Pay for What You Need. I don't think we carry that, but check nonfiction. He really does devour literature. Please leave. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Right now at Wendy's, see why everyone is raving about their brand new fries. Natural cut, skin on with a hint of sea salt, and guaranteed to be hot and crispy or they'll replace them. You know, the way fries should be. Try Wendy's guaranteed hot and crispy fries today at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Sometimes it's the little victories that mean the most. At Ingalls, we know there's no one you'd rather share those miniature memorable moments with than family. Ingalls, all the ingredients for family.
This week at Ingles, select sizes and varieties Cheez-It crackers, 2 for $6. Select sizes and varieties Dunkin' Bag or K-Cup coffee, $4.98 each. And select sizes and varieties General Mills cereal, 2 for $5. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
We treat star athletes better because they're better people.
That's not fair.
Life isn't fair, kiddo. Get used to it.
It's ESPN Asheville, the Sportsocracy. I'm Tech Spencer. Jeremy Greene is alongside. Follow us at the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias. Don't forget to check us out on the YouTube stream, streaming live right now at thesportsocracy.com. Click on that live video link and hit the subscribe button so you know every time that we go on live. Now, we are talking about the doomsday clock has been mentioned as a possible name for this futuristic score. It's been used before. The dream list. I think we need some more. We need some more good ideas. Throw them out. There are no bad ideas in the cone of ideas. So we're trying to name the formula of what we're trying to peg as the future of these NFL franchises. We are to the top 10 now as we look at each one of these teams and how they can move forward into the future. At number 10 comes, well, Jeremy's bane of his existence. One of those left the NFL today in Tom Brady. The other one seems like he will be around forever. Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots come in at number 10 with an overall score of 63. If you're just joining us, once again, we have gone through 5 different categories here to project your future in the NFL. Your ownership, where do they rank? Your front office, quarterback talent, quarterback contract, and your overall talent on your roster in 2022. Well, Robert Kraft is the best owner in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. By a pretty wide margin, I would say.
So New England starts out really well at the top.
And this doesn't take coach into account. So this is not Bill. I mean, I guess Bill goes into the front office. Yeah. He's not a great scout, but every decision is his.
Yeah, I mean, he's the GM, so.
De facto GM.
Well, nobody's going to tell him no. How about that?
This is when you have a front office that's this put together, from the ownership to the people in charge, it doesn't matter that this team is not overly talented.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just figure it out. They figured it out last year in free agency. Matthew Judon was a hit until he wasn't. Hunter Henry was a hit until he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem with free agency guys. They tend to have injury issues. They tend to have a litany of issues. But at the end of the day, this is still with cheap Mac Jones, who I think will be cheap for quite some time. I don't think he would ever get a big money deal. So The thing about Mac is that if he fits into the system correctly, you could do this for 10 years and him never make more than $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
That keeps you in a sweet spot for a long time.
That it would. Obviously, quarterback talent hurts the New England Patriots score. The overall talent of this team is not as good as they would like it to be. But there again, you have the ability. You know, they don't have money to play with this year. They can't go on a spending spree like they did last time. So it's going to have to come through the draft.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Bill, he has not done a particularly good job of that.
I mean, this past year went really well.
In the first, second, and fourth round.
Mm-hmm.
Every other pick, you know how many snaps they played combined? 6.
6 snaps.
All year. Every other draft pick combined played 6 snaps.
Right.
Still my favorite stat from when we're going to be putting out this team by team with off-season previews and last off-season reviews. One of my favorite stats I have found.
Mm-hmm.
6 snaps for anybody not named Ramondre Stevenson, Christian Barmore, Mac Jones.
Or Mac Jones. At number 9 on the futuristic scale here, the L.A. Rams with a total score of 56.
They fall into 2 problems. Matt Stafford's very expensive, and the ownership group is not well respected around the league. If you're curious where we got the ownership rankings, there was actually a poll done on this that we literally just put on the screen.
Mm-hmm. The only thing he changed was that Shad Khan was not
21,
number 32.
And I went, nope, No, sir. I will not do that. So everybody went up a spot.
All right.
Shad Khan had to be dead last.
Yes. So you get hurt for the Stan Kroenke ownership, but you are the overall number one talented team in the NFL.
They're super talented. Great coach. Great front office. The front office has done amazing things with a lot of churn. Guys getting hired by other teams. It hasn't mattered. Has not really mattered who was making these decisions. Whoever's in the chair has done a great job of it, and now you're here. The Rams are not going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
Matt Stafford, I don't care who the quarterback is, to be really honest with you. Somebody less than that, you're not getting to a Super Bowl. I heard a bunch of people reiterate what I said yesterday. If Jared Goff does not beat the San Francisco 49ers,
right.
Matt Stafford did.
Yes.
As long as you have him, you're going to be a Super Bowl contender.
And I think he'll be around forever. Well, at least the rest of his contract. I don't see Matt Stafford going anywhere from the LA Rams. So that brings us to the top 8. We'll give you those after we get weird.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
You know, security along the southern border is a very touchy subject. When you get into talking politics, we don't talk about politics on this show. So we're not going to go down that path. Although I will say, at least we know that they're finding the important things that are brought and smuggled into the United States. This is news out of El Paso, Texas. At 2 border crossings, recently they have seized 243 pounds of something that could have a drastic effect on the U.S. economy and its citizens. It's baloney. Yeah, 243 pounds of prohibited pork bologna on 2 separate unrelated incidents have been seized by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. So they say that the pork products that were made in Mexico are not up to standards, and they could possibly, I don't know, taint the supply or taint citizens in some way, some shape, form, or fashion, because I guess pork that's processed in Mexico doesn't have to live up to... I'm going to try to say this, the high standards of processed pork products in America. And what's funny to me is, like, these were brought in the same way drugs are brought in. Like, they stopped a guy at the border, and they found, like, 43 rolls of bologna stuffed up under his front seat.
That was not what I thought you meant right there, and I'm glad that that's how that went.
They found 5 rolls of undeclared Mexican bologna hidden under bags of chips, as well as in the trunk compartment and under the seats of the vehicle. 55 pounds of bologna were discovered in the SUV, and the driver informed specialists that he resells the bologna in America for almost double the price he paid for it in Mexico. The other one was where a woman was trying to drive across the border. She had 19 rolls of pork bologna, weighing 188 pounds. Those are big rolls of bologna.
That's a lot of bologna.
Big old rolls. But, hey, again, by the way, the fine for such things, would you like to guess what it is?
$8.
At $1,000, Bob.
$1, Bob.
Yep. For failure to declare commercial quantities of bologna.
My story is also from the Southwest United States. A couple went on vacation last week. They live in Santa Fe, New Mexico. They came home and they discovered something very strange, which was followed by something even stranger. When they got home, they discovered a burglar in their home with an AR-15. That would be unsettling to anyone. Except for the fact the burglar didn't use it. Not only did he not use it, he didn't threaten them at all. He apologized for breaking into their house and gave them $200 for breaking a window. Apparently, this suspect, who is described as 6 feet tall and in his late 20s, had broken into the home while they were on vacation and had just been staying there. He slept, bathed, dined, and drank some of their beers. He said the money was for the window, and his total larceny while in the house was approximated to be about $15. He grabbed his duffel bag and walked down the road, never to be seen or heard from again.
Okay.
That is bizarre, to say the least.
Very weird.
He Airbnb'd a B&E. That's an Airbnb B&E.
It is.
That's the first one of those in the history of creation.
Nice.
We turned your house into our own personal Verbo. Don't do crimes.
The Airbnb B&E.
And at least if you're going to do crimes, at least leave a note explaining it, because I have way too many questions that I have the answers to.
All right, two things that have just been created.
If you had $200, why did you not just stay in a hotel room? That's not crimes.
Two phrases that have just been created that I want to last forever. The Airbnb B&E, and Stephen Tao says in the comments, illegal pork and seizure. It is decided.
Okay. Look, why are people so... We have a segment for weird. That's how weird this world is.
Mm-hmm.
Every day we find something weirder.
And most oftentimes we have to decide which weird story we're going to tell.
If you had $200, why don't you just rent a hotel room? You could get a hotel room for $75. I've seen me do it. I didn't sleep real well, slept on top of the comforter. Maybe in my clothes.
Yeah.
I'm 150 a minimum a night guy on the road.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. If I've never told you you know what? I'll tell that story in the happy hour.
Okay, happy hour, third uncensored hour of the program, each and every day following this program, only available on the YouTube stream.
Some people might eat dinner at 4:30, and I don't. You don't
want to ruin it.
You don't want to hear this story. I promise you.
All right, we are at to the top 8 in our future scale here. What's the state of the franchise look like for each and every team in the NFL? The top 8 starts with the number 8 team, and it's another team from the NFC West.
The San Francisco 4th and Niners.
That's right. San Francisco comes in with a total score of 54. They get higher markings in everything except for ownership.
The ownership group's not great. The front office is fantastic. Mm-hmm. They have done a great job of finding mid-round finds. The thing that where their number is volatile. Jimmy Garoppolo has apparently already been given permission to seek a trade. His representation has come out and said they are working on a deal with the 49ers to be done after March 16th, which is the first day of the league year.
Yes.
So, obviously your quarterback talent would go down. The value of the contract is not going to. Top 4 value contracts in this little procedure. You know what they all were? The rookies from this year.
Right.
Except Justin Fields, because you had to give up a first-round pick to get him.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe in San Francisco. As long as the great Kazoo is the head coach and John Lynch is the one making the draft picks,
right.
I look at San Francisco much like I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to figure it out.
Yep.
I'm 34 years old. I can count on one hand the number of years the San Francisco 49ers have been irrelevant. And 2 of them were because of injuries.
Yep. And you look at the way that this team is drafted and the playmakers that they have brought in, whether it be Eli Mitchell or Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk, they're a team that will continue to reload. San Francisco comes in at number 8 on the future scale here. At number 7 is another NFC West team.
You know why I kept saying Seattle should have been lower? Because you have 3 NFC West teams in a row, and they're all 3 in the top 10.
Yes. Number 7 is the Arizona Cardinals. Their score, it's markedly lower than San Francisco's at 49.
The difference here is I don't necessarily believe in the front office. The ownership group's fine. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's the estate of Mr. Bidwell. Mm-hmm. What they're going to do there, I don't know. But I don't really believe in the front office. If you really think back to the fines that the Cardinals have had, they're all late career vet guys. You're always going to be able to do that in Arizona.
Yep.
I mean, just think about it this way. When you go to retire, are you going to retire in Minnesota or are you going to retire in Arizona?
Oh, it's Arizona.
Well, I mean, the NFL kind of does the same thing. Mm-hmm. There's a reason you see a lot of older vet guys wind up with the Dolphins, Buccaneers, Jaguars, if they're hanging on to life, and the Arizona Cardinals. Mm-hmm. There's a reason for that. If I just looked at this roster, just the roster by itself, they're a top 5 team in the league. The problem is I have no belief in the front office from years gone by.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't buy Cliff Kingsbury. And he kind of goes into that because you put so much into him that it almost has to work for you.
Right.
That was such a kooky hire, and you've done so many things to placate him. This is not like a normal head coaching hire. You have to give him the latitude. If not, it was a total disaster. And you would have to hire a specific kind of coach to follow him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what puts Arizona down here as opposed to in the top 5, which is roughly where they belong.
And the one thing that Arizona has to look forward to is that you're going to have to pay Kyler real soon. You only have another year left of him. I mean, there's the extension year that comes after that, but still, that's going to balloon, just like we've seen with these other quarterbacks. I mean, this year is the extension year for Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, and they're making $18 million, and they're at the bottom of the list when it comes to quarterback contract. So Kyler Murray is going to be toward the bottom of this list next year when it comes time for his 5th year extension. At number 6, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
With a total score of 42, they got 7 years and how much is it? It's
$1 bajillion.
That's 7 years and a whole bunch of money coming to Josh Allen. The quarterback contract is the only thing that's not in the top 10 for them.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. So with the contract, you have to balance out the talent, but when it gets to a certain point, even Pat Mahomes doesn't have a great grade for the contract because it's so much more expensive than every other quarterback in the league.
Right.
Now, over time, other quarterbacks will catch up and it'll more level the playing field. But if you're Kansas City and you're spending $45 to $50 million on your quarterback, and you've got teams like Cincinnati that are in at 8, yes, sir, you're at a disadvantage. That's just the way it is.
Yep. And Josh Allen making $43 million a year over the next 7 years brings that score down a little bit. It doesn't say anything about his talent or anything like it because he's where did we have him? Where do we have top 3?
I think he was 3, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was behind Pat Mahomes and one other quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably not who you think it is.
It wasn't yours.
It's certainly not.
It wasn't your quarterback.
It's not Zach Wilson. I can tell you that.
Spoilers. In case you didn't know, it's not Zach Wilson. But Buffalo going to be around for a long, long time. At number 5, it's the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I like to call this the you're just going to figure it out tier.
Mm-hmm. Well, because you have the number 1 front office in football.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even sure that's really debatable.
It's not.
Eric DeCosta is unbelievable.
Ozzie Newsome was the best GM in the NFL for 15 years.
Yep.
Eric DeCosta slid right in, and I could argue he's the best one in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm. And had it not been for all the injuries, we could very well be talking about this team playing in a week.
It's very true. Baltimore and Pittsburgh are just 2 teams that I look at and go, you're going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one thing that brings them down, why they're at 5 instead of higher, I know what's coming with the Lamar Jackson deal.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to pay him, and it's going to be markedly more than you want it to be.
Right.
So then you start gutting some of the things in the roster, but even then, the reason that's ahead of, say, Josh Allen, I think the number will come in under Josh Allen. But I also just believe Eric DeCosta is going to find some way to go, hey, and we've had a 5th-round pick that turns into a Pro Bowler because that's what you've done forever.
What would your cap be if you're Eric DeCosta and you're making the decision on per year spending on Lamar Jackson? Where's your cap?
I'm going to plead the 5th in that it is not my job to do that.
Oh, okay.
I genuinely don't know. I don't know how, because I don't know how I'd factor in the protections. If Lamar Jackson pulls a Pat White and gets hit on the sideline, I know that's a possibility at any given time.
Yes.
He's a smaller built guy anyway. He runs a lot. I don't know how I would do that. I feel like that deal is going to take 9 people to put the language of that contract together.
Mm-hmm. All right, gets us to the top 4, and I know we're going to rankle some people here. I know we're going to get some pushback.
And just to answer the question, Stephen Towse, who is one of our resident Ravens fans, he said $35 million. That would have been my answer too.
Okay. I was going to say 40.
If you had forced me to make a numeric answer, then that would have been my answer.
I'd offer him 35 and let him negotiate me if he can negotiate me up, but I'm not going over 40. That's my hard cap. Not going to do it. The Green Bay Packers come in at number 4. And we know there's a big decision to be made for Aaron Rodgers. Like, this was a tough one for me because where do you put – because I fully think he's coming back. So that's why they're still really high on quarterback talent ranking.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers leaves, then you fall through the floor. But we didn't do that with anybody. Even San Francisco, and I full well know that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be leaving. You have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. It's on a short-term deal. So it's not like even, let's say Aaron Rodgers talent-wise fell off a cliff, which I don't expect. It's not like you're stuck here forever. You've still got Jordan Love sitting behind him. I don't love that you invested first-round draft capital into him. But even then, I just believe in this team. Ownership score, they were 2. I'm not so sure how I feel about that, but they do have something that no other team has. Yeah, they don't
Public ownership, yeah.
It's publicly owned. So that was a ranker grade, not an us. And I get it.
Right.
I do. I get it.
But they are one of the top 5 most talented teams in the NFL.
Certainly.
And I would say that wouldn't even take much of a dive if you take Aaron Rodgers out of the equation.
Oh, it would take a drastic dive. We saw that against the Kansas City Chiefs. Without Aaron Rodgers, it's not great. There would be a big regression there. But the talent around him, it's still good. I mean, with Jordan Love, I would say this team's 9-8, 10-7 consistently. But even then, you got to think back to the last 30 years. You've had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. I just fully believe this franchise would find a way. Let's say the Jordan Love thing goes cattywampus. You'll find a way to correct it.
Right.
And that gets us to the top 3.
That's right.
Which we'll put out in the last segment of this show.
That's right. We will. But first, Jeremy's got an opportunity for you to possibly make some more money. Here it comes. 5 on it. So did you do well last night?
I did. West Virginia tried to make me right in the money line and then choked it away in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, they did.
But I didn't give that out. I gave West Virginia plus 14, and you know what that was? That's a winner. I got 3 picks for you. I've already given you 1. I got 25 on it. The Miami Heat are a 2.5-point dog tonight at Toronto. I just think this is going to be a markedly different team than what you saw last night. They took the night off. Last night was one of those losses that you just throw out there and go, yeah, we're going to get housed. We're playing the Celtics. With where we're at, as tired as everybody was coming off that 3 overtime game, we probably would have gotten housed anyway. Here's the thing. Who was that 3 overtime game against? Toronto, who has not had that day off. I think they are going to roadhouse Toronto tonight. I saw that number and went, that's dumb. I got 25 on it. Miami Heat plus 2.5. The Michigan State Spartans are a 3.5-point favorite tonight at Maryland.
It's not enough.
No, that doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm not going to lie to you. I don't care who plays because Maryland is one of those fun teams that when you expect them to cover, they will lay down on you. You always bet Maryland against a big number and go against Maryland on a small number. That's how they've been under Danny Manning. I don't have a great explanation for that, but they play directly opposite of the expectation. The expectation is this game will be close because it's in Maryland. I get Tom Izzo, you get Danny Manning, and I'm only laying 3.5. Yeah, I can get down with that. I got 50 on it. Michigan State minus 3.5. Finally, Texas A&M and Tennessee tonight. I'm going under the 132. I got 50 on it. Under 132, Texas A&M, Tennessee. These are 2 really good defensive teams, and neither one of them is great offensively. I thought this number was going to fall through the floor. It actually went up. I had to change this right before the show.
Right.
Because it went up 1.5, which to me is insane. Like, have you not watched either of these teams? They're both fantastic defensively. You could tell me this is the first team to 50 wins and I wouldn't be shocked. I got 50 on it, under 132, Texas A&M and Tennessee.
And when we come back from the break, we will have the top 3 of the teams in the league that have the best prospects for the future here on ESPN Asheville. Don't forget to take those wagers, by the way, over to betus.com, betus.com, promo code Sportsocracy. Just for using that promo code, they will give you a 125% bonus on your deposit up to $2,500.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slowing 240 westbound on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. Sweeten Creek Road southbound stop and go approaching the Blue Ridge Parkway to Mills Gap Road. An accident reported in the stretch. Hendersonville Road north and southbound delays between I-40 and Overlook Road. Again, Hendersonville Road southbound is slow between the Oak Park area and Fanning Bridge Road. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road north and southbound approaching Long Shoals Road delays, and Cane Creek Road moving between Gap Creek Road and the Charlotte Highway is slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
I feel like I'm being haunted by a pair of headphones. Everywhere I go is a creepy ad for headphones I looked at one time. I hate that feeling like I'm being watched. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Being a real estate agent isn't about listing houses. It's about connecting to people. I need to find new buyers every day, so I promote my listings using radio commercials from iHeartAdBuilder.com. Now every time I have an open house, it's a full house.
A custom radio ad from iHeartAdBuilder is the fast, affordable way to drive customers to your business. Put the power of radio to work for you. Get started now at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
This is Dan. Dan uses Navy Federal Credit Union to save and invest. Luckily for him, Navy Federal takes the legwork out of managing his money, which gives Dan time to work on other things, like his new auctioneering hobby. If you want to be like Dan, learn about our savings and investment options at NavyFederal.org/save and invest. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission.
Bidder number 63.
Savings products insured by NCUA. Investment options are available through Navy Federal Investment Services and are not insured by NCUA.
Blitz that holiday debt and get $1,000 in your hand.
I just won $1,000.
Listen every hour from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. weekdays for your chance to win $1,000. Happening now.
Make this Valentine's Day sweet with Allen's Jewelry and Pawn. Find diamond earrings from only $19.95. All diamond solitaires, engagement rings, and anniversary bands are 20 to 50% off. Heart-shaped and select jewelry also up to 50% off. Now through Valentine's Day. Allen's Jewelry and Pawn.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a speed bump. Did you hear what I said? I'm a speed bump. And if you have cut rate car insurance, the cost to reattach your muffler could really be a bump in the road. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Are you a safe driver? Are you looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Water stains on the shower glass. Try rubbing some shaving cream on them.
Tyler's cleaning crew knows every housekeeping trick in the book.
Handling timesheets now.
But they need a proper bookkeeper to keep finances tidy.
New equipment is a business expense, right?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy. Last few moments here of the program, and we got 3 teams left. The top 3 in the future score rankings here. Number 3, it's Go Chargers, go! The Los Angeles Chargers at number 3 with an overall score of 36.
Somebody asked me, and I would totally say who it was. Somebody asked me in the comments a couple days ago what I think about Tom Telesco. I think he's one of the most underrated talent evaluators in this league.
I'm down with that, yeah.
This team has drafted really well. Rashawn Slater, I'll come out and admit it. I said he was a right tackle or a guard. I didn't think he could be a left tackle. He's a starting left tackle in the Pro Bowl. So Tom Telesco obviously saw something that I didn't. This is a really good franchise. They have the owner, I'm not going to say markedly higher than Dean Spanos is way too high on this. To me, they have him at 6. I would have had him more like 16, but it was the list that we used. It was objective. It was voted on by the fans, and so that's where it is.
Yep. You got 2 more years on the rookie deal of Justin Herbert, and you got all the talent in the world around him. You're a few pieces away. A few pieces away, and you could be where the Cincinnati Bengals are today.
They're very, very close, and really the difference between them and the team at 2 is fractional at best. But one of them's in the Super Bowl, and one of them's not.
That's right. Number 2, the Cincinnati Bengals. Their overall score, 35. And I got to be honest with you, I was shocked by this. I mean, I might have had them a little too high in the overall talent category.
You do. There's no doubt you do. But I think their owner score is too low. The reason that I let that balance out, people look at the ownership of the Bengals, and the Brown family, they were notoriously cheap in the 90s. That's not really the case anymore. So I think the Brown family's too low at 19. Those two things balanced out. It did not change the ranking, so I allowed it to go.
Yep.
I would have overall talent. I have more like 6, 7.
Okay.
But again, you're in the Super Bowl, so I can't really fault you for that.
Right.
And I do think there was an error in the owner score.
I'm just so super swayed by the young weapons that they have. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. I mean, those guys have been drafted in the last 2 years together, and they're going to be together for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've done a phenomenal job of – I mean, it started with Marvin Lewis. Marvin Lewis catches a lot of shade that I do not think is justified.
And that brings us around to the number 1 team. And that's why everybody cheered when they got beat by the Bengals in the playoffs this year. Because the Kansas City Chiefs are the number 1 team in the future score. Their overall score here on the 5 categories, 32. That's hard to do.
And if they didn't have such an outsized contract for Pat Mahomes, which that's going to correct itself. It's going to take some time, but as long as you're $5 to $10 million ahead of every quarterback in this league that's not named Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, or Deshaun Watson, I mean, it's going to have to factor in. The only reason it was so close is because of that.
Yes.
But, I mean, that team's set up for the long haul. They've drafted just insanely well. And you got to think it's going to continue. I look at Andy Reid and go, he's a young, what is he, 64? 62? He's 60-something. And I feel like he's pretty young at that, especially to be as rotund as he is.
As much as he likes cheeseburgers.
And Waffle House.
Yeah.
But to me, Kansas City, when I looked at this list after it was all said and done, because we did this blind. We did all 5 rankings, then we put them together, added them up, and it was what it was. And we got to the end of it. I'm putting the total 32 up on the screen right now. I think it's right.
I think so.
And I'll tell you another funny story of this. The top 16 teams, they were all 15 of the 16. Miami was the 16th team. All top 15 teams were in the top 16 of our last power rankings.
Yep.
That's not a happenstance.
No. It just goes to show you that all the teams that are good right now in the NFL, sans maybe my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, probably the worst out of the group, are all really well set up for the future.
Yeah, your team's not real well set up for the future, but you do have a lot of talent.
We do have a lot of talent. It's that whole quarterback thing that is going to hurt us. And yes, that's the number 1 story today. Tom Brady has officially announced his retirement after 22 years.
And it was well timed because Tampa Bay would have been another instigator of us doing this.
Yes.
My team's not 30 seconds, so you know what? I'm claiming a moral victory.
That's a win for you. We will have our happy hour coming up in just a few moments on the YouTube stream. We'll be back here tomorrow at 3 on ESPN Asheville. Top 13 NFL draft running backs Coming up today, Jeremy's top 13 list on the Top 13 Tuesday in the happy hour, and we will see you on the other side.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Rain showing up in the forecast for late week, and looks like warmer temperatures are here for early February. Also, nice to hit the 50s today, and we'll be up there again for tomorrow with some rain coming in for the mid and late week forecast for Asheville. Low tonight, even freeze in the valley, 20s with elevation. Chance for an afternoon light shower Wednesday, high 49, low 42. Half-inch rains Thursday, 57. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Audible. Make this the winter of you with Audible. Listen to the best of what you love, from comedy to wellness to the latest bestsellers. Find it all at Audible with audiobooks, exclusive originals, and popular podcasts. Start listening free when you sign up at audible.com.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slowing 240 westbound on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. Sweeten Creek Road southbound, stop and go approaching the Blue Ridge Parkway to Mills Gap Road. An accident reported in the stretch. Hendersonville Road north and southbound delays between I-40 and Overlook Road. Again, Hendersonville Road southbound is slow between the Oak Park area and Fanning Bridge Road. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road north and southbound approaching Long Shoals Road delays, and Cane Creek Road moving between Gap Creek Road and the Charlotte Highway is slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
I bought football tickets for my husband's birthday, and now I'm in a football bubble. All I see online are articles and ads about football. I hate feeling manipulated. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Greene is alongside, and welcome into the happy hour as we will. It's a Top 13 Tuesday. Top 13 Tuesdays where we give another list of Jeremy's favorites in the upcoming NFL draft. And today we're doing running backs. This could have been a list 3 times as long, correct?
No.
Maybe not that much.
No. For me, this was the perfect spot because there was a clear delineation between the guys that didn't make the list. If this list had been longer, the next 2 that would have made it would have been Zonovan Knight out of NC State.
Okay.
He would have been 14.
Okay.
And Hassan Haskins out of Michigan would have been 15. I don't see... The thing for me with running backs is that there's so little difference for me between 14 and let's go just a ways down. Max Borghi out of Washington State. Not a huge difference between those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot in that tier in this draft. But for me, the top 13 clearly delineate themselves. And we have an announcement for this is one of my favorite weeks of the year. It's Senior Bowl week.
That's right.
So Saturday, Tank has a UNCA basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
So I have lined it up that we will be doing a live stream, just like we did the live stream for the AFC and NFC championship games. And it will be me and Armchair Commentary.
Nice.
So it'll be Armchair and I. If anybody else wants to join in, feel free. We'll have a good old time.
Just breaking down Senior Bowl.
And you'll get to see me be as nerdy as humanly possible.
Okay.
Because I will get more excited at the Senior Bowl than I got over either of the championship games.
That'll be fun.
This is a flush Senior Bowl too.
I will be watching from home. I'm gonna take some time, all the time that I can get to spend with my family this weekend because I am now on MLK Day. MLK Day was the only day I was not up here for a basketball game or for this show or for the playoff games or something over this past month. So I'm gonna be I'll be at home. I'll be in the chat though. I'll be watching the Senior Bowl as well because this is the first. I mean, last year I really didn't get into the draft all that much. We didn't ramp up our draft coverage until right at Senior Bowl, and I wasn't really interested. But now that I have been through the process and Jeremy's nerddom has seeped over onto me, I am very interested in the Senior Bowl as well.
There's a lot of guys, and I'm going to do a preview of the Senior Bowl. That one you actually will be involved in. So if you'd like to take a gander at the rosters and see if there's, I'm going to put a graphic out probably tomorrow. You have a UNCA game tomorrow, so I can tell you we will not be recording that tomorrow.
Right.
It'll be more likely Friday that gets recorded. So if you have Senior Bowl questions, if there's somebody that you would like to have featured in that, whatever the case may be, my goal is to put a preview out Friday night for the game Saturday. There's about 20 guys in this game that I'm really waiting to see. Matthew Hoffman, we will be at Radio Ranch. You are more than welcome to drop by. There will be another seat by me because Armchair will not be occupying it because
he's Canada. Yeah,
he's a Canadian. So it's going to be. Alex Majavi said some really good tape today from practice at the Senior Bowl. I DVR'd it, so that's HWA. That's your night tonight.
Oh no!
How excited are you?
Oh.
That's a lie. I'll do it after she falls asleep. Senior Bowl week is just one of those weeks that I know I'm not going to sleep. Yeah, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason they do this week because, you can only talk about the Bengals and the Rams so much.
Right.
So very, very excited for the Senior Bowl. Look for the preview on Friday. Everything that was just in the ESPN show will be bidded out and put it out on TikTok. We tried to keep everything under 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we did that with every team, but we came close.
Close.
I'll know when I bid it out.
We got them all in. That's all I was worried about.
I think that worked reasonably well. In the comments, if that was something you liked, let us know. If it wasn't, that was my brainchild.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually had that on the board last night because I knew today was And before anybody says it, I'm not the Brian Flores thing. That's completely opposite of what we do on this show. That gets into politics and things that I'm nowhere near entitled to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't ignore that. We saw it. It was just.
That's what the face was, by the way.
Yeah, the face was when somebody said it in the comments, and I went, "What the hell are you talking about?" And then I Googled it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, aha.
Yeah.
Alex Majabi said, we're getting mock drafts soon, so I'm glad you said that. I have a 7-round mock draft that's ready. There is a lot of work that goes into those. Senior Bowl is going to change all of that shit. So I'm going to try to piggyback the 7-rounder off the Senior Bowl.
Okay.
That is my goal for next week, because then I'll have all day Sunday, because we won't be here, which unfortunately for HWA means she's going to do a lot of, hey, what do you want for dinner? What? Were you talking to me? Oh, my bad.
Yeah. All right, very good. So Senior Bowl broadcast coming up this Saturday. What time does that start?
The game's at 2:30.
The game's at 2:30. All right, so 2:30 coverage in the Sportsocracy. Jeremy and David Smith from Armchair Commentary. It's going to be fantastic. I'll be watching at home along with all of you. And then, I may pop my head in at the end of it as I'm getting ready to go on with the UNC Asheville basketball game.
Yeah, we had a little bit of, and we're not quite ready to disclose what this is yet. We had something that kind of threw us off last week, so it kind of made the schedule all cattywampus. So everything got pushed, and then we got this close to the Senior Bowl, and I went, I am not putting the effort that it takes into a 7-round mock draft to unwind it the next week.
Right.
It would be much easier to just piggyback it off that.
Right.
And so that's what I'm going to do.
Well, we have more tomorrow in the happy hour. Are we going to continue with Way Forward Wednesdays? And we'll do another round of 8 teams in the NFL that we do a 1 team per division full off-season preview. So we can continue that tomorrow in the happy hour. Don't worry, we're going to get you covered. We'll have all of your coverage of everything going on.
We will get all the teams done before the offseason actually starts in earnest.
And yes, JT Money, you are correct. Jeremy wants another Pizza Hut spicy thing.
I do.
The spicy lovers pizza.
So good.
It was very, very good.
And by the way, anybody that said they cheated, they did, but they did it right.
Mm-hmm.
They cheated good.
Yep. Just a couple of things here before we get into the top 13 list here. Rob Johnson, Packers fired their special teams coach. Who's shocked?
If they hadn't done that, somebody should have been fired for not firing him.
Right. Serious questions. Serious questions about your organization if you did not fire the special teams coordinator after the collapse that they had several times throughout the season, but definitely bit them in the playoffs. Yeah. Man, the Brian Flores thing is crazy, and I haven't had the chance to read up on it. But the one thing that sticks out to me is that he claims that Stephen Ross offered him $100,000 for every loss if they would tank for the number 1 pick in the draft. That's fun. That's fun. Way to set that career on fire. Anyhow, top 13 running backs in the 2022 NFL draft. And we've been doing these wonky. We had been doing these 1 through 13. We should be doing these in reverse order to unveil the number 1.
Yes. So today we will be doing it that way. So we start with the bottom 5 of the top 13.
All right. Bottom 5 of the top 13. At number 13, Tyler Algier from BYU.
I still maintain that he says his name wrong. It's Tyler Algier is how that's how that's spelled. So that's, I don't know how he says it.
Yeah.
I'm going to level with you, and I'm going to be as honest about this as I can be. I don't watch tape with commentary, so I don't know how these guys' names are. I know how I pronounce them in my head until I get the NFL Draft Guide, which should be out the end of this month. It's February now.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Algier is a guy that or Algier, or however you pronounce it.
I'm looking it up right now. I'll tell you.
If there's a kid in this draft that's going to turn into Austin Eckler, it's him. The thing that would scare me, he could not catch a cold if you soaked him in water and dropped him in an ice chest. That makes me nervous. He's built like a brick shithouse. 5'11", 220, thickly built, everything about the way he's built running back wise is modern day NFL. He's very, very fast. 4.4 to 4.45, somewhere in there. There are a lot of guys that I have to see the tape. I did not watch a lot of BYU this year. Just so happened that I watched the USC game and I watched one other. I've had to catch up on BYU, and the more I've watched them, the more I fall in love with this kid. And in the right system, he needs to do the opposite of what the Chargers need to do. The Chargers need to find that between the tackles runner. I'm afraid a team's going to draft him to do that, and that's not going to be his best path forward. Because what he does very well right now is run between the tackles. The only problem is he's very inconsistent. I think he needs to be schemed for vision purposes. His vision's not great. He hesitates too much, kind of stays at the line, and when he's running downhill, one cut, he would be great in a zone blocking scheme, by the way. San Francisco, the Jets, somewhere that the hole is basically manifest for you. You just have to find it and go. He'd be great.
It's Algier, by the way.
I still think that's wrong, but you say your name wrong. It's okay. A lot of people say their name's wrong. It's fine. But yeah, I like this kid. Not a great blocker. He's going to have to learn a lot of the nuance of the NFL game. But if he learns it, there are not many running backs in this draft that I think could be better if properly coached than Tyler Algier.
Mm-hmm. At number 12, Rashad White from Arizona State.
I'm a level. There are a lot of people that are higher on this kid than I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not down on him per se. He's very tall, which is not always something I love in running backs. He's tall and thin, but I think he can be a very good third down running back in the NFL. The thing that scares me, he can't pass block to save his life. And that just makes me nervous. It makes me nervous of a guy that I think the best thing you do is receive out of the backfield. When you can't block, it almost makes you irrelevant because you tip plays off. Because they see you back there and they go, okay, even if he does try to check an edge rusher, it's not going to matter because he's going to get freight trained.
Mm-hmm.
He's not as thick. I would like to see him probably gain 20 good pounds of muscle. He does that one thing that, and you'll hear me say this about a couple running backs, because there's one that's in the top 5 that I feel the exact same way of what I'm about to say about him. He does all of the really easy things really well. He can run in a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
If the hole's there, he's going to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
And once he gets in the hole, he can burn your ass. Because I would say he will run somewhere in the neighborhood of a 4.45. Good speed for him would be 4.45. I would say if he goes below a 4.55, then you could see a bit of a free fall. The things that take the most time to develop are the things he doesn't do well. So I'm probably more down on him than many people in the industry are. Which is funny because I'm much higher on the guy at 11 than others in the industry are.
And at number 11, that's where you have Devontae Price out of Florida International.
He was on the Chase Claypool list. This is a kid that I think can be, if given the time, he can come into an NFL system and do just tremendously wonderful things. There is some tape on him that is intoxicatingly good. There's some not as great tape on him. But I think the raw tools are there in the right system. It's just a question of what that system is. He's one of those, it's a very difficult, him and Pierre Strong. It's a kid that's out of South Dakota State. South Dakota State. That's right.
Okay. You're right. South Dakota State.
Okay.
Yeah. You're right.
Okay, just if you're a small state, just okay, one of you gets to be a state. North Dakota State, South Dakota State, I confuse them constantly.
You're right, South Dakota.
The things that Devontae Price has to do better are really easy to fix. He's never going to be a pass blocking back, but he can't catch, so I don't care. I don't care that he's not going to be a pass blocker. Because this is going to be a kid that you bring in to run between the guards. And there are very few kids in this class that do it as well as he does. Body-wise, he's built like Rashad White is.
Mm-hmm.
Except he's not. If you just look at the measurables, you would think they're roughly the same size. They do not look the same size. They don't look the same size on tape. They don't look the same size when they run. If I didn't know any better, I would think Devontae Price outweighed him by 20 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I would love to see him with the LA Chargers.
As the
Still
between
love
the tackles
Larry Roundtree.
guy. Yeah.
I'm not down on Larry Roundtree. I like this kid a lot. And he's somebody that I don't think the industry's caught up to. I could see him blowing the combine out of the water. I mean, one of those guys that we're talking about his workout. If he runs faster than I think he will,
mm-hmm.
of which he's in that same 4.45, 4.55 range. If he runs particularly well, then you start looking at the rest of the workout, I could see him just screaming up boards.
What's the max? How high do you think he can go?
How highly could he be drafted?
Yeah.
I would say he falls in the beginning of day 3 right now. I could see him getting into the back end of the second round.
Okay.
He's that good.
Okay.
And this is going to be one of those drafts. There's not as many no-doubters.
Mm-hmm.
Usually running back, you have like 5 guys that you feel, okay, you can be a starting running back in the NFL. Then there's a slew of guys that get into the platoon. I don't feel that way this year. There's one guy I look at and go, you're a no-doubt down-in, down-out starter. And it's the guy that will ultimately be one on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, I think they have a role.
Okay.
Could they develop into that? Sure. I've had a pretty good track record with running backs. I never understood why people were down on Dalvin Cook. Well, lo and behold, I was freaking right.
So Devontae Price to you is the big bruiser in a committee.
I'm not going to say he's the big bruiser. He has very good eyes. And that kind of makes – and he's so thick that it makes it look like he's this big, burly, downhill running back. He's still very, very fast. Not a great blocker. He's not really a good pass blocker.
But you'd think at that size they could teach him. They could teach him how to throw a body in front of somebody.
It's harder to do that than people think.
Yeah. I mean, he's 6.
It's very rare that somebody – and it can be scheme. And that's another part of this. I don't think he was coached very well.
Mm-hmm.
But Butch Davis was – I don't care. Butch Davis was Seacrest out 2 fucking years ago. So Butch Davis has been cashing a paycheck for quite some time.
Right.
Stephen Tao asked, is he Gus Edwards? That's not a bad comp. I think he's faster than Gus.
Okay. At number 10, Zach Charbonnet. UCLA, transferred from Michigan. He's a speedy bastard. I could say that.
He is, but there's one thing about him that I can't figure out.
Okay.
Why did you never get more run than you did?
Mm-hmm.
His entire career across 2 schools, he was never a featured guy. There's also a possibility that he comes back. I haven't seen the declaration on him yet. I know I'm not seeing him on a lot of boards, so it's entirely possible that I've missed it.
I don't know. I'm
going to check it to see if he's...
Honestly haven't...
He is coming back.
Oh, he is coming back.
He is coming back.
So,
all right, so Zach Charbonnet, he's not good. I also misspelled his name on the graphic. Fuck.
All right, so he's no longer on the list. So Son of a Knight comes in.
Welcome to the top 13.
Son of a Knight with a bullet at number 13 from NC State.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't do the best job of with this coronavirus year shit. I don't do the best job of.
Who's coming back?
He was no doubt he's
yeah.
going into the draft because if I'm a running back and I think I could be drafted at all, I'm coming out.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't. I mean, obviously, you take a hit if you take a pounding.
Yeah, and that's. I don't love the decision that he's coming back. I get why he's doing it. I guess. I don't think it's going to increase your value at all.
Right. All right. So do you want to talk about Zonovan Knight real quick? Or Bam, as he's known?
Every day as a field trip said, a speedy bastard. I wish these were the real scouting reports.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked how often they are. You would be shocked how many scouting reports read exactly how I talk about these guys.
Yeah. That's what I said. So.
Some of them are insanely. Let's see. How do I say this nicely? They're not nice. There are some. Nice is not something you see in a lot of scouting reports.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of blind, unbelievable honesty.
Right.
So with Zach Charbonnet coming back, I figure I might as well just bounce to Zonovan Knight.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of things to like about him. I just don't see 3 down back in him. He's a first two down back in the committee.
Yeah.
I would love to see him in somewhere like Philadelphia. Philadelphia just doesn't really appear to give a damn about Miles Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he's hurt a lot. I understand that. I would like to see him in kind of a committee role.
Right.
If you were building a running back, size-wise, it would be Zonovan Knight. I mean, if you cast one out of stone, it would be Zonovan Knight.
I mean, just under 6 foot, 210 pounds. He's got a lot of power. That's the one thing that always stuck out with me when I saw them play.
He is very stout, and he's got a phenomenal stiff arm.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that he was not initially on this list, and I had to audible it late, because Zach Charbonnet went back to school, and I didn't know that. There's an injury history with him that I really want to. I want to make sure the medical checks out, and I have better ways of accessing that than most.
Mm-hmm.
If I start hearing we red flagged the medical, then I'll let you know that. If he passes the medical, he belongs in the top 13. But to me, he has one of the biggest red flags on his medical of any running back in this class.
Yeah,
I can't think of one better.
Okay.
Or I can't think of one that I more need to see.
Right.
Because there are things in his past that, he could be taken off boards.
Mm-hmm. But not only does he bring the power, but he can catch out of the backfield. He can kick return. He can do a lot of things.
And there's a lot of tread on the tires, too, because he was never the only running back.
No, because he had Ricky Person beside him every year. And those guys were still 1,000-yard rushers, both. A shocker of shockers, Tank saying something nice about NC State football, but that was the one thing I loved about this team was those 2 running backs and Aquano, who's also going to go in very high in this draft.
He will go very high.
Yeah, probably higher than you think. At number 9, a guy I'm really in love with, brought me a national championship, Zeus, Zamir White out of Georgia.
I am in love with one Georgia running back. It's not this one.
It's not this one.
No, and we'll talk about James Cook more later than you think.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with Zamir White.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm about in lockstep with what you'll see from other people on him. I just can't figure out exactly what his role is. So, all right, I'm going to let you go as the Georgia not technical,
right?
What you saw of him as a running back, and then I will tell you what my issue with that is.
Okay, I like James Cook as well, and I can't wait to talk about him coming up later on in this list. But to me, Zamir was he was the guy that was always there. He was the guy that you could count on him in any situation. It didn't really matter. You could throw in the ball, but they like to do that with Cook more. Zamir still has the hands. He still has the ability to play at the next level, and he's just got this burst that if he gets away, you're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about him. And not only that, but he's also a kid that brings a lot of power. He's not afraid to lower the shoulder and put a hit on a linebacker. Might get him in trouble at the next level, but also I think it's going to earn him some extra. He's just a fighter. He's a fighter for extra yardage, and that's one of the things I love most about this kid.
He's the worst pass blocker I've ever seen.
I knew there was going to be some. There's a word in there somewhere.
He's the worst pass blocker I have ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to the point of, and it's not just that, he can't catch either. Which is,
he
cannot catch. He gives you damn near nothing as a receiver. My problem with Zamir White, there are red flags with the medical because he's got he's torn his ACL twice. So that obviously makes me nervous. That's going to push him down anyway. As soon as I start seeing medicals on running backs, I'll run the opposite direction.
Right.
You're never going to teach him to be a good blocker. And trust me, with the ball in his hands, I love him. The problem is there's 50 of those guys in this class.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a guy that I think is going to run in the high 4.3s. He was a high-end track star in high school. But he doesn't play that fast. He plays that fast when he gets by you.
Mm-hmm.
But then I never see that. And it's the raw on him. There's probably not a running back in this class that's got more raw talent than him. I just don't see it. And you were playing in such a good situation because you're so much more talent. The talent around you is so much better than so many people so many teams that you come up against. And there would be times he would just disappear. Like he would get the ball and you'd go, "Oh yeah, I forgot about it. You're here,
right?
You're here." Now, and I'm going to say something about Zamir White that it's the exact converse of something I've already said about another running back. He never got all of the workload. And for him, it's a negative because I don't think he can handle the full workload. I think if you tax him as a workhorse running back and you draft him that way, which means you take him the first 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
You take a running back the first 2 days, you expect them to be your guy at some point. Because to me, if I'm just going to rotate running backs out, I'll take 2 of them in day 3 and away we'll go.
Right.
And I'll do this every single year.
I don't think he'll last that long. I mean, the medical might push him that far.
Well, here's the thing. He never re-aggravated the ACL.
Mm-hmm.
So you talking about Zonovan Knight, the medical's more of a red flag to me on him than it is on Zamir White.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 ACLs does make me nervous. And the tape just doesn't scream at me. He had a lot of good runs against teams that they are way better than.
True.
He did have a good national title game.
Mm-hmm.
So that tape changed it a little bit because I'm not going to lie to you, he was lower than this before the national title. I think I pushed him up 2 spots on that one game because it's the first time I'd really seen him do that against a super high-level competition.
Right.
Don't give me Tennessee. But before anybody says Tennessee, look, I am the Tennessee defender on this show, so do not throw your shade in my direction.
Yeah, no, for me that's but he did it against Tennessee. So there's that. All right, at number 8, getting into the top 8 here, Jerry and Ely out of Ole Miss.
I have a sound effect for this.
These tomatoes aren't even ripe.
I love this kid. And when I say and I'm not saying, drunk guy at a bar talking to the pretty girl that is going to touch his wee-wee. I love this kid in a way that I have only loved cake, Camel menthols, beer. I am drunk in love on Jerry and Ely. He's short. I get it. He is the most electric back in this class, and it's not even fucking debatable. If you argue with me on that, there are 2 sides of every argument. There is the right side and the wrong side, and you will be on the wrong side. I don't actually have a knock on him other than his height. That's all I got. I don't have another knock on him.
Just a wee little feller?
He is probably going to be 5'8".
5'8".
He's probably going to be 5. Ole Miss listed him at 5'9.5". I got news for you. If he's 5'9.5", I'm 6'7". And I'm not.
The measurement I'm looking at says 5'8". 5'8", 190.
He's just a wispy little flat feller, but my God, is he fast. What I said about Zamir White, he's the exact opposite. I don't know that he's going to run as fast as he plays.
Mm-hmm.
But if you watch Ole Miss, he gets out in a clearing and you are fucked. And everybody knew it. I can't remember. I want to say it was Auburn. They played a game against Auburn, and he hits the corner, and I swear to you, I watched 2 safeties go, oh, fuck. He's not even by him yet.
They just looked at each other.
They still have the chance to take the angle on him. And they just went, oh, shit. And you genuinely could actually see them go, oh, no. It's not a great pass protector, but he's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
At his size, he's good enough. Because when you get into somebody that's this much of a flash and can be this good as a receiver, you can't just bullet blitz at them. Because if you do, there is an entire possibility that they're going to leak out behind you, and now it's him and a safety.
Right.
And he's faster than that safety. Almost invariably, he's going to be faster than that safety. he's not a bell cow running back. No, he's not. He's not going to be a 20 carry a game guy. Can he be a 12 carry a game guy? Yeah. 12 touch a game guy.
So he could be a
Darren Sproles. There's no other comparison.
Oh, okay.
There is no other comparison.
I was trying to think of somebody who's playing right now in like J.D. McKissick. He could play that role for somebody.
He's way faster than J.D. McKissick.
Really? Because I
hit my bell instead of my cough button.
Speaking of speedy bastards.
Yeah, Jerry and Ely has a gear that I have not seen many times out of running backs.
Okay. Jerry and Ely comes in at number 8 on the top 13 list of 2022 NFL draft running backs.
And I'll put it this way. If he was 6 foot tall, he'd be the only first-round running back in this draft. The fact he's 5'8" is the reason you're going to be able to get in the back end of the second round, beginning of the third. If he had bell cow running back size, he would be the first-round running back here. But he doesn't, and he won't.
At number 7, Jerome Ford from Cincinnati.
You remember that thing I said about Zamir White went up because of the game against Alabama?
Yes.
Yeah, Jerome Ford went down.
He went down.
Because he looked like he didn't belong for a vast majority of that game. Now, I put a lot of that on Desmond Ridder because Alabama was not scared of him in the least. There are things to like about this kid. It's almost all with the ball in his hands. Almost all of it's with the ball in his hands. Not a particularly good blocker, which is weird because he's built like a kid that should be able to block. He's not very good at it. Height, weight, speeds, like I said about a running back earlier, he's built perfectly. And he's pretty fast. I just think he's faster in a pair of shorts than he is on the field. And he plays that between the tackles role really well. He's not a receiver. Not a receiver, not much of a blocker. The thing that caught me against Alabama is how indecisive he was. The first hole's not there, and there's no patience. This is, think, anti-Le'Veon Bell. The thing that Le'Veon Bell did so well is that he was so patient that he would wait on a second hole. Jerome Ford doesn't wait on the first hole from time to time. And he'll just run up a lineman's ass and fall down. The raw talent is great. And that's, for me, in a running back is what I'm looking for. There's not the deficiencies, they're going to be very similar. I mean, there's about 4 different skill sets that running backs have that come into the draft. And if you come this far, you probably realize that I've already said 3 of them.
Yep.
Either you're a really good blocker or you don't have great hands. Or you're a horrid blocker, but you're really good between the tackles. Or you're a really good receiver, but you can't block. It's just, basically with running backs, you take 4 character traits, and you give them 2, and you take 2 away. That's almost exclusively how running backs come in this league.
Yep.
And Jerome Ford is the last one that I have 2 in this column and 2 in this column. After him, it gets into 3 and 1, and then there's one that he can just do everything. Like, no matter what you ask him to do, he can do it.
This is why I love draft coverage so much, by the way, because I get to learn so much about these guys from Jeremy, and then I also get to read things like that. I just want to read you this little sentence here about Jerome Ford in one of these scouting reports. Ford is a disciplined runner that plays within himself while doing a terrific job of blending decisiveness with patience.
And that is a lie. That is what a lie sounds like.
So yeah,
and here's the thing: he can do that against East Carolina.
Right.
That doesn't translate. You don't get to play East Carolina in the NFL. And no shot at East Carolina. Love East Carolina. Love Mike Houston. But I just feel like anybody that said that, you're watching the tape against low-level competition.
Right, and he won't be able to do that.
It ain't hard to be. It's not hard to be patient when you're the best team in your conference by a mile.
Right.
It's really hard to be patient when you are at a talent disadvantage. And if I'm going to take a guy in the 3rd round, you better come with that. Alex Majabi asked me, where is the perfect fit for Jerome Ford? This is going to be a weird roundabout way of saying this. If the Dallas Cowboys could somehow lose Ezekiel Elliott's contract, like, you just never signed it. Sorry you didn't send it to your agent, dickhead.
Right.
Him paired with Tony Pollard would be fantastic.
Okay.
Other places that I would like Jerome Ford.
Houston.
Any running back in Houston would be better than Rex Dickhead. I shouldn't have said that. I actually like Rex Burkhead. He's really annoying for fantasy purposes. I'll tell you where I would really like Jerome Ford as the 2 in Tennessee. The second running back to Derrick Henry. That's where I'd really like him.
All right.
Because I think he could play in that scheme quite nicely, and they do a lot of the same things. But he would be a good spell. Deontay Foreman's a good comp to him now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like doing comps.
At number 6, Kyron Williams out of Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I may not be high enough on him. And I know what people are going to say, but he had so many games where he was completely irrelevant. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that. I am fully versed on that. His last year at Notre Dame was not particularly impressive. He's not as big as you would want him to be. He's another 5'9", 5'10" running back. But his good, some bitch, his good is good. And it was against high-level competition. I've seen him do things that I haven't seen other running backs in this class do. He's the inside-outside ability. A lot of running backs can run between the tackles or they can run outside the tackle. It is a rare trait to be able to do both. He can do both. I also think he is a markedly better receiver than you saw at Notre Dame. One of the problems that I think he had this year, Jack Cohn's not a great screen pass quarterback. Mm-hmm. He's not a great swing pass quarterback. He's a press it down the field kind of guy. Play action kind of guy. Well, it's not really what plays into what Kyron Williams does. And this is a guy I think will go into the league and will be drastically better than what you saw at Notre Dame. I think there's a lot of talent that you did not see come out. Very good top-end speed. I don't know how fast he's going to run because I can't get a good gauge on it. He's one that could go real fast. He could go real fast. Not Jerry Neely fast, but a step behind that.
Frankie Cleary asks in the comments, do you think that some running backs can block, but they just refuse to?
Some of it's scheme. You can get duped. You can get duped by a running back that doesn't block well because they're in a scheme that doesn't ask them to. Spreads tend to be really bad for that. Delay blocks. So I'm going to leak out. There's an art to that, and some running backs are never coached on that. This is not go 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and run.
Right.
And some guys do that. That's something I look for on film. If you start getting quarterbacks killed, I start watching how often do you either delay block or how often do you, I don't want to say it's a fake, but you kind of make the head movement like you're going to block to try to get them to go around you.
Mm-hmm. Make them step to the side and save a split second, yeah.
And I don't know if it's dependent on the teams. Sometimes that's a scheme thing. Sometimes it's a freelance thing. I don't really know what word I'm looking for right there.
Well, I mean, I just saw in the comments they were talking. Rob Johnson had mentioned Chuba Hubbard was in a class of his own and can't block.
Yeah, he's
and I think that's where that question came from was, can he block, but he just refuses to?
No, he can't do it. I can't pee over my own shoulder, and Chuba Hubbard cannot block. Those are two things undeniable. He cannot do it.
But again, the question was, do you think that some running backs can block, they just don't want to? And I would say I'm sure there's a lot of that goes on.
That's why we use the term willing blocker.
Right.
God,
damn it. I hate that you're the one that brought that up before I did this draft season.
I absolutely hate that phrase. Matthew Hoffman asked, could Ford be a backup to Mixon and stay in Cincinnati? He could. I wouldn't hate it, but I think it's kind of a hat on a hat with Samaje Perine. It's kind of redundant. Well, I mean, Samaje Perine, Samaje Perine is just really inconsistent. I would say the high side of Perine's actually better than Ford, but the low side is Ford's better.
Yeah.
I'd say he's more consistent. That's the politically correct way to say that.
That's fair. Very fair. How about number 5 on the list from Michigan State, Kenneth Walker III?
I'm going to let you wax poetic about him for a second because I know you are drunk in love with him.
I do. I mean, he was a kid that I saw, at Wake Forest. Not that I watched a whole lot of Wake Forest football, but, being in the ACC and their ACC country, you do get exposed to these guys a little more. And when he transferred to Michigan State, I thought, that's got a chance. I'm not sure what Michigan State's going to look like with him, but then I started seeing him roll up four touchdown games, and I went, okay, I think there's something special in this kid that even I didn't see.
The Michigan
before.
tape is special. Mm-hmm. You go back and watch the Michigan tape, and you would it's games like that ultimately lead to teams taking running backs in the first round. The only Kenneth Walker has one huge problem.
What's that?
He don't know how to take a single. If the blocking dictates a 3-yard run, you need to get those 3 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Don't extend this out and lose 2 because he loves to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, because I might have had Michigan beat Michigan State, and it didn't go my way. The problem for Kenneth Walker is he's so good breaking tackles because he is. If you try to arm tackle him,
mm-hmm.
he's going through you.
Oh yeah.
He's so good at doing that I feel like he gives up what he gains too often. Take what the defense gives you. I cannot get past Kenneth Walker being the second running back in Buffalo.
I think I'd really like that.
Devin Singletary, as multiple as he is, and Kenneth Walker with the ability to just run you over.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my head, I have this vision of the RPO with Josh Allen and Kenneth Walker and linebackers getting their feet misplaced, and you don't get the good surge at whoever has the ball, and they run you the fuck over
mm-hmm.
because they both can. I'm afraid Kenneth Walker's going to go too high. I'm afraid he's going to go to Miami. I do not want him in Miami under any freaking circumstances. He doesn't do the ancillary things well enough. This is a guy you're just asking to be a running back. He's going to be fantastic. I think he can be a tremendous running back in this league. I don't know that he's ever going to be a good enough blocker to be a 3-down guy. And my fear is that he's going to go so high that he has to. I would like Kenneth Walker at the back end of round 2, beginning of round 3.
Mm-hmm.
Back into round 2 with a team that made the playoffs, has another running back, Buffalo. Or at the beginning of the 3rd round with a team that needs another piece to something they already have, like the New York Jets. I would like Kenneth Walker in and I don't love him in the zone block scheme because I don't know that he's ever going to take the single. I don't know that he's ever going to be able to do that.
Right.
But I've been wrong about zone backs before. Zone running schemes are really easy to figure. It's very easy to look at a guy and go, you'd fit in that really well. It's when you watch them and go, I don't think you would do that well. You can miss. It's just like Elijah Mitchell. If you remember last year when they took him, I said on our draft coverage, he's the better of those 2 running backs.
Yes, you did.
Because Trey Sermon does not fit in this. And I was right about both.
You were.
But I don't want it to sound like I don't like Kenneth Walker. I really do. I'm just afraid he's going to get put in a situation that is not advantageous for him.
Right. At number 4, Brian Robinson out of Alabama.
Yeah. This is a kid that I'm pretty fond of. Brian Robinson.
You're drunk on him,
and I have been. This is not but look what he did in that. Nope. I've thought this since Najee Harris walked out of the building. When he got drafted last year, on our draft coverage, I said, you watch, Brian Robinson's going to be a day 2 pick next year.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of tread left on the tires. Great build. Brian Robinson's another one that's built like somebody that's just going to run your ass over. He's good enough at all the other things. He's not good at it. There's not a lot of guys that are good receiving backs or good blocking backs. There's a lot that can do it.
Mm-hmm.
He's one that I don't necessarily think is going to get better. It's always a drawback that I have on Alabama running backs. But in terms of if you want somebody that's going to line up in a run-heavy scheme, Tennessee, Philadelphia, we run predominantly.
Yeah.
We are a heavy run team. He's the perfect fit. Now, who is a team that would fit that? Let me look at the board. I have a board of all the NFL teams, and usually Baltimore Ravens. Never mind. Fuck it. I'm done. I'm done talking now.
Him and JK?
Oh, God, that would be. And I know Gus is coming back, and I know they're not going to do that. But in a system like that, oh, good Lord. You give me 5 big, how did Brian Haynes used to say? Hogamollies.
Yeah.
In front of him? Oh, good Lord.
What if you put him in Pittsburgh with Najee, because they're going to have to run the ball a lot?
I wouldn't hate that. That scheme's not as downhill as you think it is.
Okay.
And I don't mean you. I mean, as people think it is. People identify the Pittsburgh Steelers as a team that has these big hulking linemen, and they just run the ball down your throat. That's really not it. They had a lot of elements of spread. Now, do they keep that up? I don't really know.
It depends on who their quarterback's going to be.
Yeah, that's – I'll tell you another one. Just now that I've sat here and thought it out, and they won't do it because they invested a pick in a running back last year at Carolina. I would like him to take some of the work away from Christian McCaffrey. It's not as much necessarily of a scheme fit, but they would be a good tandem together because they do things that the other doesn't.
Well, that job belongs to Chuba Hubbard. And well, I mean, as long as Matt Rule's wife loves him, Chuba ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. So,
sorry about that.
I should have known Matt Rule was a disaster when we talked about how much his wife loved Chuba Hubbard.
Right. What was the story that she apparently called right before they picked him? And it's like, hey, you better take Chuba.
Yeah. My wife loves Jimmy Garoppolo. I understand that. Your wife loving Chuba Hubbard? I'm not so sure I understand that. And I'm not sure why anybody gives a fuck. That's the bigger question that I have.
Right.
Why does anybody give a shit what Miss Rule thinks? Because me thinks that you shouldn't.
All right, we are into the top 4 now. Top 4 of the top 13 here on the Top 13 Tuesday in the Sportsocracy.
This is the most, to me, this is the all-around back that people are missing on. It's James Cook. Yeah. I am so hammered on James Cook. There's 2 running backs in this draft that I would take in front of him. And I think they both can be 3-down backs.
Yeah.
James Cook's right on the edge of it. He's damn close to being a 3-down running back to me.
I mean, he's not as good as his brother, but how many people are?
I don't disagree with you.
Okay, thank you.
However, if you told me that a year in a legitimate strength and conditioning program, James Cook came into camp next year at 5'11", 210, and let's say the 2 in front of him go to weird places, I could see a path that he would be dynasty fantasy football, the one I want.
Yeah.
If you told me that one outside of the top 2 became top 10 running backs in the NFL, I'd bet my house on James Cook.
I like him a lot. You know that.
He doesn't really have, I'm not going to say he doesn't have a flaw. He doesn't have a fatal flaw. What a lot of people have dinged him on is, well, we've never seen him behind a line that wasn't far superior to everybody they play. How many guys, I really want you to look at this screen because I've heard that exact narrative. How many guys on this screen played 4 teams where they were not drastically better than who they played? Half the time at worst.
Yeah, I don't see one.
To me, that's one of those stupid things that people say.
Yeah, I don't see one.
Of, oh, he got what was blocked for him. You're watching a different tape than I am. So I don't really see what you're seeing.
Yeah.
James Cook's not a zone running back. I'm just going to get into it. He's one of the big knocks on him is there are times that you see the pulling guard get out in front of him, and he runs into the guard, or he outruns his coverage, or he outruns his blocking. I mean, I get that. That just tells me I don't want you in a zone scheme. But there is a burst in this kid that is insane.
And the hands.
Oh, he's got real good hands.
The hands are the thing that clinch it for me. I mean, I felt the same, and I get it's the same team. It's the same kind of a scheme. But Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, it was a deathly duo when they were at Georgia. And I always felt like Zamir White and James Cook were that. And James played the Sony role of, I'm the guy that's going to get out in the flat. I'm going to go on the wheel route. You're going to find me down the field, and I'm just going to make things happen. Whereas Zamir and Chubb were more the bruisers of the system. And it's only this is now flipped because I've always felt James was the better, where I always knew that Nick Chubb was the better of the two beforehand. But James, I mean, he's just got a different gear.
In the comments, I lost it. In the comments, Tyler Cunningham asked me if Hassan Haskins died. No, he didn't die. If I had a 14, of which I said this earlier, if I had a 14, it would now be Hassan Haskins because Zonovan Knight took Zach Carbonet's spot. Mm-hmm. I really hated the tape I saw from Hassan Haskins against Georgia was really bad. Mm-hmm. Against Iowa was pretty bad. And yeah, he had some big games, but I mean, be really honest with yourself. Okay, he had the huge game against Ohio State. He had a great game against Penn State. The other big games were against Indiana, Nebraska, and Northwestern, and Washington, who sucked out loud. Mm-hmm. There were too many times that he just completely disappeared. Wisconsin, good defense. Yeah, he averaged 2.4 yards a carry. I'm not saying he can't be a good running back in this league. I think it's going to really depend at where he goes. That's going to be one of my big drawbacks on Haskins. And I think he's going to get overdrafted based on that Ohio State game. Mm-hmm. You see guys have 5 touchdown games in the biggest game of the year outside of the playoff.
Like Trey Sermon?
Damn it. I've now muted myself with the bell, and I've tried to ring the bell with my damn mute button.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't like Hassan Haskins. It's so inconsistent. And when you're picking nits, which I'm telling you right now, from about 6 to 16, you are. Mm-hmm. That's the reason he would be below that for me. James Cook's back to the original topic there.
Yeah.
James Cook has the ability to be. I'm not going to say he's going to be that he could be better than his brother. He can be much closer than you think. Mm-hmm. Have you ever noticed that running backs tend to leave Georgia and get better?
I mean, do they?
Todd Gurley was the best running back in the NFL for 2 years. And he was great at Georgia.
I was going to say he was
great at Georgia.
One of the best running backs in the country.
He was.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb.
Yeah. Well, it's because
Nick Chubb outperformed
because you go to a place where you're the only guy, or you're the star guy.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
When you're splitting the workload, it's really easy for you to get overlooked. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of, whether people want to admit this or not, they do look at bulk stats and go, well, he only had 850 yards. And?
Right.
I don't give a damn how many yards you had.
The guy running next to him.
I don't care if you had 40 yards. If I saw burst in you and I think I can coach it, I'm in.
Yeah.
And I see it in James Cook.
Mm-hmm. At number 2, Isaiah Spiller from Texas A&M.
I'm not going to say I had to be sold on Isaiah Spiller. I was not as impressed at first glance as I was after watching a little deeper.
Okay.
Blocking, let's just not even talk about it.
Okay.
Because he's not particularly good at it.
That's fair.
He's not he's not the quick twitch running back. I think he can be a high-level receiving back in this league. And I think he's got the body of a 3-down back. I've read this book before of a guy where all of the knocks on them are just little nitpicky shit. And they tend to go into the NFL and become way better. Mm-hmm. Isaiah Spiller could be a 3-down back in this league. And I think he's going to be drafted that way.
Yeah.
I firmly believe Isaiah Spiller will be the first running back taken in this draft.
Really?
I do.
Okay.
I think he will be the first running back taken in this draft for better or for worse. And I don't really know a way to say this other than how I'm going to say it. I wish somebody would pick him up and show him that his hips work.
Okay.
He runs like I've always pictured Arnold Schwarzenegger would run. Like there's so much bulk on you that you just you don't turn well. It's a line that I've said on the show before. He's an 18-wheeler. You don't turn so good.
Right.
But by God, if he gets going downhill, yeah. Yes.
So he's got the power to run over you, but does he have the speed to run away from you?
I think he does. I mean, he's not going to run okay, that's how I should have said that. What he runs will determine whether he's the first back off the board or not. I could see him running as slow as a 4.6.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to do that, but I don't really see him running any faster than 4.5. And there are some scouts that just can't wrap their head around a running back that's not fast.
Right.
But now he's got a cutback ability that is second to none. I mean, he's got an ability to make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's better than any running back in this class. The thing that bothers me, he's just not fluid. There's something about the way he runs that really bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it's, again, we're picking nits. But there's something about how clunky he looks at times.
So he doesn't have the jump cut or what?
No, he can do that. It's when things are blocked right, I don't always see things go as well as they should.
Okay.
It's when everything goes to hell in a handbasket, that's when I go, that's the best play you had all day. Sometimes I have to sound this shit out because I do this without, notes and shit.
Right. All right. And then that leads us to number one. Number one in the 2022 draft class, per Flostradamus, Jeremy Greene, here on the Top 13 Tuesday, it's Breece Hall, a running back out of Iowa State.
Oh, tell me what Breece Hall doesn't do well.
Let me guess. He doesn't block well.
He's not a great pass blocker. He's not as bad as some of the guys we've talked about.
Right.
That's it. That's it.
That's the only thing I could come up with.
He's going to be one of the fastest running backs in this class.
Mm-hmm.
He's built like a brick shithouse. He runs between the tackles well. He catches well.
Is he 6'2"?
6'1", 6'2", somewhere in there.
All right.
About 220.
Whew. That's a big boy.
He's going to run in the 4.3s.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he falls down, he's going to run in the 4.3s. He's got the best eyes of any running back in the class. He's the most patient runner in this class. I see people rate other running backs ahead of him, and I go, but why? What in the fuck could you possibly have seen from anybody else that would put him ahead of him? To me, Breece Hall is Jonathan Taylor.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, he's going to be that good?
Yeah. In the right system, he can be that good. There is one, if you wanted me to give you a negative.
Okay.
There are a lot of carries on that kid. I mean, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that he's going to be a 8-year running back in the league. Pan said Breece doesn't have brilliant speed. Get him out in space. I'm just going to tell you that Iowa State team was not as good as everybody thought. Get him out in space and watch him at the combine. Because I promise you he will run. And he will run real damn fast. I mean, real damn fast. So I love this kid. To me, there's no doubt. If I was the Miami Dolphins, I don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm. That's the guy.
I'm never, ever a fan of taking a running back in the first round.
You'd be okay
Miami,
with
I'd consider it.
Okay.
I'd consider it with him.
All right.
I really would. Because I think with the situation that you have with Tua Tagovailoa, you have to do something to help him. One of the reasons that he looked so blindingly inconsistent is because he had Myles Gaskin and the ghost of Philip Lindsay and just Malcolm Brown running behind him. This is a dude in a draft that does not have a lot of dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I like Isaiah Spiller, and yeah, I like James Cook. There is no shot. There's probably not 3 teams in the NFL that could take Breece Hall where I wouldn't say, yeah, he's the number one running back in this class. Number one running back in this class should be the first running back you take in fantasy football drafts. I feel like the inconsistency of Brock Purdy is what's holding him back. I feel like that team wasn't as good as some people, me included, thought they would be.
Mm-hmm.
And people are blaming it on Breece Hall. And I cannot for the life of me figure that out.
Okay.
I don't see what it is that people ding him on. I hear some people say he's not a great blocker. I don't agree with you. It's not his fault that Brock Purdy holds on to the ball too damn long. And I love Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
Friends with his sister.
You wish
on
you
Instagram.
were friends.
On Instagram.
Say, you wish we follow. You're a stalker of his.
No, I am
sister.
Not. She just appears in my timeline on the Instagram from time to time.
Yeah,
and her last name fits.
That's
all I'm trying to say.
No particular reason. Yeah, I
think it's because if you click on it, it goes higher okay. I've clicked on it a time or two.
Exactly. The algorithm is telling on you.
The other thing I've heard is, but he doesn't break a lot of tackles. I don't 100% dispute that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really know that I care. He's so shifty and he's so good that, there were very few times at Iowa State that it wasn't blocked for a 3-yard gain and he got 4. Because somebody hits him in the hole and forward you go.
Yep.
That'll be the first. He falls forward that you hear of this year. That's a fun buzzword when I talk about running backs at the draft. I try to not break those out until draft night because I'm going to say it. I will say falls forward as many times about running backs as I usually say markedly.
Right. Okay. All right. So that's your top 13. Sans Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah, Zach Charbonnet he went back to school, so he doesn't count.
So number 13 on the list should have been Bam Knight from NC State.
Yeah.
And then after that, who else? Who else is on your radar? You already mentioned Pierre. What was his name?
Pierre Strong.
Out
of San Diego State.
Mm-hmm.
I like him.
South Dakota State.
What did I say?
San Diego.
Did I really?
You did. It's DSU.
Good Lord.
I do that all the time.
Other guys that I like in this class, Tyler Goodson, he's a little short.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always nervous of Iowa running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have so many unbelievable linemen. It makes me a little nervous with running backs like that, but he has some very high-level tape. He's a third-day guy that I could see being productive. Letty Brown, I would be remiss if I didn't point out the West Virginia guy.
Mm-hmm.
The West Virginia guy is to point out the West Virginia guy.
Right.
He's going to run super slow.
What about the kid from Missouri? Batty. How do you say his name? Tyler Batty.
You're asking me how to pronounce a name. I'm not. My problem with him is he's so short.
Okay.
And the thing he does is run between the tackles. He's a plus receiver, but not by much. It's not a plus by any stretch.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he's good. He's so small. I don't typically love insanely small running backs unless they're really good out of the backfield as receivers. And I'm not trying to slight the kid and say he can't do that. He certainly can. I just don't think he's as good at it as everybody else does.
Right. Ty Chandler from North Carolina.
There was some tape on him at Carolina that was fucking brutal. He got Sam Howell just absolutely killed in the Virginia Tech game, and I swear to you, I never thought Sam Howell trusted him again.
Yeah. He did have some brilliant games, though.
He had some good games. Master Teague had some good games. There's a ton of guys.
C.J. Verdell from Oregon.
He's another one that kind of falls into that. I'm trying to find I'm looking down my rankings here to see if there's a guy that's really low that you've probably never heard of. I always like giving out the guy that people go, who?
Right.
One will come to me before we end this.
Okay.
Because I've got one, but I think I've got a better one. It's not clicking with me right now as to who that is.
I heard you mention earlier in the show Max Borghi from
I like
Washington
him a lot.
State.
He's another one that could, if you're looking for somebody that can do that multiple Darren Sproulsy type thing, I just feel he's just a utility knife. I don't know that he has one skill that will really carry him through in the league, but I think he has a jack of all trades, master of none.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like him.
Okay, very cool.
I'm trying to find the.
You're trying to find that deep divey guy.
I'm trying to find the guy that went to like a directional technical school that I'm just like, hey, you don't know who this is, and I do.
Southwestern Poughkeepsie State University.
All right, I'm gonna go with the one that this is not as small school as I wanted. Kevin Marks from Buffalo. I like the way he's built, and I think there's room to grow there. He can also block, which is really unheard of for running backs nowadays.
Finally, a running back that can block.
Yeah, he can actually block. Now, the problem with him is that he doesn't run so good. So that is kind of a problem for running backs in the NFL because running is in the name.
Yes.
And
it's kind of important.
And I shouldn't say it so glibly. It's not that he can't run. It's just that virtually every running back in that system has been good at some point. And he had good games. Just he never had like Jared Patterson games or, and that makes you a little nervous because that team was so predicated on that.
Mm-hmm.
But he can block. And he's got really quick feet.
All right. I think that'll do it for the top 13 and some change running backs in the 2022 NFL Draft. Alex Majabi wants to know about Xander Horvath. What do you think of Xander Horvath?
Xander Horvath. I think he has a phenomenal name.
Yeah, Horvath is awesome. He's running back out of Purdue, 6'3", 220.
Let me verify this.
Mm-hmm.
You went rather down the board.
Xander Horvath.
I'm trying to remember if I have a draftable grade.
It's hilarious to me that there's a guy in this draft named that because that is what I call my wife when I want to insult her and not be so insensitive.
Horvath?
Hey, Horvath, come here.
I can't tell if you're making that up.
I'm not making that up at all. I'm not making it up at all. See? Lid's help.
Yeah, that would have saved your computer the first time. Thanks, Jason Trump. He is just on the outside of draftable grade for me. Okay. I don't have a draftable grade on him, but I've also got an asterisk next to him.
Which would be?
It can actually mean a couple things. Give me 2 seconds.
What we have?
Oh, he's in the Hula Bowl. Or yeah.
I didn't even know they still did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the 15th of last month.
Okay.
I don't put much stock into that. I don't think that kid's got NFL athleticism to him. But, I mean, could he be drafted? Sure.
We did not mention any Kentucky running backs. Are they all coming back to school? Chris Rodriguez coming back to school?
Chris Rodriguez is coming back to school, yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No Cavassier Smoke either?
Cavassier Smoke's he would be a 7th round
right.
free agent.
I just, again, favorite names in college football. Cavassier Smoke, always going to be there.
Rob Johnson asked about Carbonate. So Zach Carbonate is going back to UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
I boo-boo kittied that at the beginning of this video. These new draft rules are so unbelievably fucking stupid. I got a press release sent to my email that I don't even know what it means. They sent me a list of declared guys. It was 100 names short, at least. Like that can't be the only guys that have declared. I mean, and I knew some off the top of my Xander Horvath. That's a good example of a guy that he had declared. So I hate these new coronavirus rules. They're stupid.
It's hard to keep up with who's eligible, who's not.
5 years. All right, you got this was the Rona year. Just lather up. You're a fucking senior. Just, okay, come back.
All right. We will do Way Forward Wednesday tomorrow on the happy hour. Tomorrow, ESPN Asheville show starts promptly at 3 o'clock. We'll be back here with you in the Sportsocracy at that time. Until then, be well. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy the basketball tonight or whatever you're going to fill your time with. It's already saw where Patrick Holt has dipped out because his kid's got a basketball game tonight. So go, Max, if he's still watching or got it on in the car or whatever. But we'll be back with you tomorrow. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. We'll see you next time.